Hello and welcome to, oh man, I don't even know what episode it is. I didn't even look.
423.
What's that?
423.
423 of DCP plus SideQuest. We got a lot of the D to talk about today.
Yeah, this week we're putting the Destiny back
DCP.
into Destiny Community Podcast.
Woo!
Hey.
Woo!
How you guys been this week? A good week? I know you got your cast off, Mylan, but turns out you're screwed.
Now you have that's a budgie.
It's like a brace for thumb poking.
No,
Yeah.
it looks like a Speedo.
You know what's
I'm
funny
gonna
about
It looks like your hand is wearing a budgie smuggler. Yeah, it looks
for
like
picking up really
Mylan,
sexy hitchhiking.
Can you take it off again and hold it from the side? Because I'm gonna be honest, it did look like some sort of like hoist
It looks
or
like
toy for something.
It's
A sex toy.
Do you know what it looks like?
It was
looks like a
you didn't hold
teapot.
it.
that's
Yeah,
a
it does.
banana holster, Mylan.
It looks
That's
like
a
a
banana
teapot.
holster.
You weren't holding it up that way before. Okay,
Okay, well, there goes the money.
there's a
Is
lot
it
going
hard
on with
or is
your
it soft?
budgie
Oh, no,
holster.
it's obviously firm. Like it's plastic.
firm.
Oh, we can see it's firm.
Yeah. So the story is, I broke my thumb at jiu-jitsu. It took like 3.5 weeks to see the doctor, and the doctor's like, "Why didn't you come sooner? This probably needed surgery." I said, "I've been trying to get here, brother." And they're like, "Well, I guess you just got to wait it out now because we're gonna have to break the bone anyway. So you might as well just see if you can avoid surgery by letting it fully heal and protecting it for a little bit longer, and then we'll see what happens." So
That's always what
unfortunately,
you
I'm
want to
back
hear
on
is,
the.
we're gonna have to break this bone. Oh,
That's now healed in the wrong position. I'm still using a foot pedal for my jump button and my push to talk. So
That's so
you see
immersive.
me getting excited,
The foot pedal with
smashing
the jump.
because I can't hit the space bar. So yeah, that's where I'm at. But I had plenty of time in the hospital. Like, you know what? I think this is the peak definition of being a parent. I was like, I've never been happy to be sitting in a waiting room with my earbuds and my phone. I played some Pokemon. I watched the entirety of the Destiny stream. Nobody bothered me. Like, just completely peaceful.
Nice.
You're edging it up in the hospital.
Sir, it's your turn.
Hey.
No, please go ahead.
Please go ahead. Go ahead. I'll spend the whole day here.
Oh, 7 hours, no problem. Oh dear.
Yeah, 7 hours of watching videos on my phone. Sounds like a goddamn dream day. That's my week. Oh, and I played like a metric shit ton of Arc Raiders. I played 50 hours over 5 days, and 2 of those days I was with family, so it was a lot.
Is that
wow,
is
really
that
50.
it's
I
not a
played a
beta,
lot
it's
about
a
that.
network test or something, right? Network test?
Technical test.
Technical
test. Is that over
I've
now?
got-
It was-
or is it still going?
It's over now.
It's over
It's
now.
It was
Yeah.
very complete, though. I think that's what surprised folks. It was like, well, it's Tech Test 2. I never did Tech Test 1. And I was like, hey, this is a whole game that they're showing a lot so far.
Yeah, so I can definitely give you some really good insights between Marathon and Arc Raiders. I did 30 hours in Marathon. I did 50 hours in Arc Raiders.
Wow.
I've got a video coming out about kind of the comparison, but super interesting. So when we want to talk about that, we can do that too.
Okay. I'm looking forward to that because Arc Raiders looks awesome. Do we have a release date on Arc Raiders yet?
No,
Nope.
but I think it's this year. I think
Yeah.
they'll be on a similar timeline to Marathon. So
And
They
now
did say
that-
2025.
Now that GTA 6 got pushed to next year, it feels like the fall is wide open, right?
It's a field day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now we can talk about that trailer too.
Borderlands 4 has been pushed back to... No, I'm just kidding. Remember, it got delayed by 11 days. People were like,
It's another
oh, it's probably
magic
because
trick by old
GTA.
Randy.
It got pushed forward 11 days.
Oh, that's what... Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Correct way to put it. But yeah, like that was... Everybody's like, I think so. And I was just guessing, but I was like, I think they just want to steer clear of, like, if it comes out in fall. And who knows at this point, but goes to show you, you never know for sure.
Maybe it was
Um,
advertising, if they're just like,
yeah.
oh, we're so confident our game is so done, it's coming out early. And everyone's like, wowee.
I think it was that, and
Oh,
like they
cool.
wanted to. Actually, we never talked about Borderlands 4, so maybe a pin in that for later too.
Oh
but,
yeah, we forgot
Yeah.
about
But-
that last time. Yeah.
But on
Yeah.
Arc Raiders, right, Mon, is the theory, and I know we'll talk more about it later, but it's coming out 2025. They did say that, but there's a lot of theories that didn't they do something with finals where it just dropped in the summer quickly?
I don't know if Finals is
Okay.
a shadow drop, but yeah, so Arc
Something
Raiders
like
is
that.
made by the same studio that made the Finals, which is
Yep.
a very well received PvP game.
Yep.
Even if it doesn't have, the mass PvP audience, I think nearly anyone who's played the Finals and likes PvP says it's a pretty good game and have very few complaints. So
Is it still running the finals?
yeah, they've
Yeah,
been
they
still
still
supporting
have
it.
like I think every day their peak is around like 20K ish. So I mean, if it's a smaller studio game that doesn't cost nearly as much as these like crazy studios, putting out a PvP game and having like a consistent, 20K players is people are very happy with that.
Yeah.
The thing is for PvP games, it's either alive or dead. It's alive. Like, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
as soon as you start losing enough players and you go below the critical mass of, the wait times go up, matchmaking gets, destroyed. You can no longer get matches with people of your skill level. Like the game just dies. And so the finals is still
Yeah.
alive and kicking. And so I think that
Definitely.
is a testament to how good the game is.
Arc Raiders is getting. I feel like it's getting incredibly positive buzz, like from everybody.
You know what it
did.
reminds me of, and I feel bad for saying this. It reminds me, not in the same way. Before I say it, I do not mean that. Anyway, so you remember the game that came out that wasn't a game and was a scam?
Oh
Yeah.
no,
Yeah, day
it
before.
reminds you of the look of
It-
the day before tomorrow.
Day before?
The day before, yeah. So the
Yeah.
day before was like was wishlisted a crazy amount. Everyone was so excited about it, and you know what was having an alpha or a beta, whatever, at the same time? Once Human. And Once Human
yeah,
was kind of hitting on those things that people wanted from the day before. And I think it kind of pushed it to be even more well known because of what was going on with the day before. And it kind of reminds me of Marathon versus Arc Raiders. Not that Marathon is the day before.
Wow.
Marathon,
Just
a
said that's
scam.
exactly
Miss
what she
5,000
meant. She
watts.
set it up.
That's not what I meant.
Said this is
But-
exactly what she means.
I think Arc Raiders would have gotten a good amount of attention without Marathon. But with Bungie's name being attached to Marathon and that like pushing extraction shooters like really more mainstream than they have been, and
Yeah.
also people trying out Marathon and going, oh, well, maybe I'm kind of into extraction shooters, and then they are then looking at Arc Raiders. I think it helped kind of push Arc Raiders up a bit.
I
That makes
100% agree. I think Bungie and Marathon opened the door to extraction shooters even wider than before.
Yeah.
And people that typically wouldn't give it a shot were at least watching a stream or trying to give it a shot. And I mean, we want to just talk about Arc Raiders Marathon now, or how's everyone's
let's do
week?
it. We're here.
We could do it now, and then we can do Destiny after.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that's
then because
I think that
Destiny's gonna
makes
take a
sense.
bit longer. Yeah.
Yeah.
We tried. No, I'm just-
Yeah. So
I tried.
I think Arc Raiders and Marathon are both what you would call entry-level extraction shooters. So if you
Ooh.
take something like Tarkov, there's no hit markers, there's friendly fire, you kill your own teammates very easily. There's no map, you pull up, there's very limited HUD. You have to load every bullet into the magazine. Every gun has, 50 plus attachments that will require a specific way of assembling them, blah, 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 blah. The list goes on. I think most people agree, like Escape from Tarkov is in the hardcore extraction shooter genre.
Definitely.
Marathon and Arc Raiders is an entry level, and by that is you can't friendly fire. Your teammates have HUD above their head, so you know that they're there. You have a map. The loot is simplified. It tells you how much it costs. It tells you where to get it from. You have rarity. You have shield rarities. It's a little bit. I don't think the Apex comparison's like correct, but you've seen shield rarity in other games like Apex, right? So there's a rarity system that's very obvious. Tarkov's not like everything's just brown and gray. You got to remember what's good and what's not good.
Yeah, or you're like
The
helmet
response to
matters,
Marathon and Escape from and Arc Raiders has been crazy different. To the point where the guys from Escape from Tarkov who are in the hardcore kind of category are loving Arc Raiders and not enjoying Marathon. And I think that is crazy considering Arc Raiders is a third-person game and Marathon is a first-person shooter. So there's lots of differences with it, and I can give you like kind of my thoughts of why Arc Raiders is performing better than
I
Marathon.
agree.
Yeah, do you want to add anything else
With
Fred?
Arc Raiders. No, I mean, I think you should probably describe your theory there, but
These are my theory.
they're very different games is what thing I would point out
They
ahead
are
of time, but
quite
we'll see what
different
you
games.
think. But I believe Arc Raiders for sure turned out to be the more traditional construct of,
I think if the gut reaction is Marathon's current state or the current state that they showed off is much closer to a BR that's very PvP orientated with a smaller map. Arc Raiders is definitely closer to a typical extraction shooter, but an entry level one. And to be honest, that is an achievement because there's a graveyard of extraction shooters that have tried to do this and have not really caught any traction. You know, like Call of Duty DMZ, like there's a little bit there. You got Delta Force, you got Grays, you've got these other ones that have taken a lot of the pain points out of Tarkov that haven't really seen huge fandom yet, like Arc Raiders did. And I think a couple of the key differences are this. Arc Raiders' enemy design and variation is incredibly good. You have these robots, you have like scout robots that have different varying like ways to kill them. You have like these little ones that you can shoot with anything. Then you have like armored ones that shoot like rockets that are very dangerous. And if you don't have the right ammo type, you can't destroy them. And it goes up to like essentially like spider tanks, which are very difficult to take out. And then there's even like world bosses where you might have to like recruit the entire server to help you out. I think that level of like enemy design and danger adds a lot of tension and atmosphere, and the game can be played without PvP. I think if you compare that to Marathon, you have like the robots are not the main entertainment source in Marathon. And this is what I think happened in the alpha. If you weren't getting into fights with other players, people were like, this looks boring. Like, where's the excitement here? Because you can take out all the enemy AI that are dropping in the Marathon very easily. All your guns to do it. You know, there's some of them have shields, some have invisibility, but for the most part, they're all humanoid robots that you can take out. So I think it's missing some excitement. And the crazy thing is, Bungie knows how to make really good enemy factions, really good enemy designs. And it's ironic that I'm fighting spider tanks and world bosses in Arc and I'm not in Marathon.
Right.
So that's kind of like point number one is like Destiny's enemy design and factions have survived for a decade. If you look at the Vex, if you look at the Fallen, if you look at the Hive, they are so distinct and interesting. They have different weak spots. They have different strategies. They have different things you have to do to defeat them. And all of that is kind of missing from Marathon. And I think it's because more emphasis has been put on PvP than the PvE section of it. And a lot of comments about Arc Raiders was like, I wish this was just a PvE game. And I think that is probably the greatest compliment for an extraction shooter is if your game is fun to play as a PvE game, you've done your enemies and your environmental design correct. And I don't think Marathon's there yet.
Yeah,
Just
and
the
it was apparently it was supposed to be I have to double check, but wasn't it Arc Raiders was supposed to be a PvE game and they sort of shifted
That's the rumor.
to try to create
Yeah.
more excitement. But you can kind of see it in there. You're like, it was basically
You can.
like Division, except it's in this big battlefield world with these
Yeah.
arc things. And then I think they decided, you know, we have to look into the facts here, but
Yeah.
something like, oh, you know what, it needs more. What about the extraction format on top, which is both, right?
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
yeah, like you really see that. You're like, there's so much PvE progression as just like a solo player or whatever. And
Yep.
yeah, you really feel that. I would just mention, I think you're absolutely right that Marathon is so PvP focused, but the more I played it and came to the end, I kept thinking, well, it's just an alpha, you know, and I maintain like, do they have a significant amount more to show? But like, if I'm just talking about this alpha and to end that thought,
Exactly.
it feels really incomplete. And that, to your point, it's like, if you look at Arc Raiders, you're like, wow, there's a lot of polish and detail and stuff going on. And Bungie's capable of all that. And then you look at Marathon, you're like, well, it's an interesting PvP-focused experiment, kind of that Apex meets Tarkov Light, but I'm like, it feels like it's missing a lot still. And
Exactly.
they
And
need
I
to show
think
us that if it exists.
so some of that they're obviously holding their cards for. Like we know the Sphit, the compilers, which are going to be a really interesting enemy in Marathon, are in that end game stage called Marathon, which is the ship itself.
The USEC.
And maybe that will introduce the tension, because what happens in Arc Raiders is like you end up creeping around because you know you can't take on everything. You know that if you start engaging a robot, it's like you're going to die, you're going to lose your ammo. So you have this like bubbling tension going away. I feel like you don't really get that with Marathon. You just like, you kind of treat it like Apex, right? You just run around, you just send it most of the time, and you'll kind of be okay. And I think if they can have something that adds some of that tension and fear with engaging with AI, I think that would be really handy. And I think obviously Bungie has the talent to do it, has had the talent to do it in the past, because they have amazing factions, enemies, and stuff in Destiny already.
I have to laugh because the only reason I fear fighting the PvE is because I'm making noise, and therefore I
PvP.
might be getting into a fight sooner than I want. I'm not afraid of the enemies.
And this is the weird thing.
Usually.
All stuff works together, right? So like all these elements work together to make a good extraction shooter. So like Arc Raiders, the map is way larger. So often you'll hear gunfire, but you can't get there in third party as well as Marathon is. In Marathon, towards the end of my playtest, it was just kind of like, we just won't shoot anything, because if we do, we will get third party and we'll get caught healing, reloading, or whatever. So the map is small enough to really make a play to any gunfire. So that's why it's also like more PvP orientated too. And that often, I don't know. I don't think that flow, it's not my preferred flow. If you prefer to just always get into fights in PvP, you're going to like Marathon more. But I personally like the tension and the sneaking, and like the highs and lows of extraction shooters is what makes it enjoyable for me. The bit that goes from everything's okay to holy shit, we've got like a spider tank chasing us, run for your life, and then it goes back to being quiet. So I do think there is an issue with the map size in Marathon. Well, maybe there's not an issue. It's obviously very intended that the map size is smaller, and it's intended to encourage player versus player combat. But I think you start moving away from what makes an extraction shooter. Then you start looking at more like BR territory. I don't know.
But to that point, I would want to make clear that I would play both. I like both formats and what they're doing. As I've settled on it, though, it's like, it's funny, if you listen to me in the previous episodes, I'm sounding more like you. It's like, well, we haven't seen this and I want to see more. But now I'm like, wow, it's over. So just the alpha. But in other words, I played them back to back, and oh my God, all of a sudden it's like that first person Bungie feel. They're completely different in that sense. And I do believe there's room for both. But then I just feel like the Marathon state of what we saw, it's like, I hope there's a lot more here.
It was a lot
I think
more.
for a more, like, I didn't play Arc Raiders, I didn't have time to, but I did play Marathon, and I watched a bunch of Arc Raiders. And I think for me, it was looking at Marathon. Marathon obviously feels really good. I personally love the art style and all that stuff, but it feels like there's a lot missing. Whereas with Arc Raiders, they came out with what looked to be quite an already full experience. And I understand that there's like events missing in Marathon. So maybe it's literally just the case of, this wasn't even supposed to be shown publicly. We just wanted to get some feedback on the stuff that's in here. We don't have like nearly the full menu showing to you right now. And that could very well be the case. But yeah, you look at it and you're like, Marathon feels kind of empty and unfinished, which it is. It is unfinished. Whereas Arc Raiders felt more kind of complete. Yeah.
That test for Marathon was initially supposed to be like private, right? Like an NDA.
Yeah.
And then they decided to open it up and say, no, you guys can talk about it. Maybe they should have left it private.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, I think that's maybe, but also, I don't know if you guys felt this way playing Marathon, but like, I felt like the first day or two, they had some actual like, oh, this is kind of like neat. That some of the Destiny community and PvP community was kind of like, oh, okay, I sort of see what they're doing. And I felt like there was sort of a general openness and positivity. But then when there was the depth missing, it suddenly turned into like, I don't know, I don't really want to play anymore. And what else is there? And then Arc Raiders lands, and then everybody starts basically trashing it, is what I saw. It's like, I want to play Arc Raiders, and like, oh, I get why. I still think they're quite different, and there's room for both. But Marathon just
I think there's room for both for
needs
sure.
to show more.
Yeah.
I
think
if it exists.
I think like a lot of people are saying, oh, Marathon's cooked and like Bungie's cooked now because Arc Raiders showed it. I kind of think the opposite. I think Arc Raiders just literally gave Bungie, hold on, the blueprint for a entry-level extraction shooter. They've shown, like, the community reaction to Marathon and Arc Raiders like has proven what the formula is to have a good entry-level extraction shooter. And I think if Bungie can get, if these elements are already been worked on, the enemies and maps and these other things that Arc Raiders has going for it, if these elements are already in the oven, already cooking, or at least Bungie has taken some things on board and they can put some of those things in the game, like, they're going to be in a stronger position because they are a first-person shooter and people just will gravitate towards it because of that. So, like, I think Arc Raiders dropping when it did is an absolute blessing. In fact, they probably wish it dropped earlier, because I think there is some really strong points in Arc Raiders that they can take away from it and think, how can we put this into Marathon if we don't already have it in there? And what are the things we can work towards? Because it's just tested and shown that people enjoy Arc Raiders, and there's lots of good reasons for it. One of the things that I think, I just brought this up before on my screen, is like this giant world boss, and it's the giant spider tank, and it protects loot, and it has different move sets and different weak spots, and you can shoot it when it fires this laser, and the head opens up, and it's like this is classic, like, Bungie bosses, and it's in Arc Raiders protecting a puzzle, a multi-stage puzzle in the game. You got to sneak into this area. You got to press buttons. You got to shoot buttons. You got to find canisters. Like, it is a simplified puzzle that you'd probably see in like a Destiny dungeon.
Yeah, actually, I'd be curious. Do you think they were inspired by Destiny, Mylan, or is there another game
massively.
you think of with first-person shooters that would have inspired that, like Metroid?
One of the guns looks like Sleeper Simulant. Another weapon is called Wolfpack, and it's a grenade, and it shoots homing missiles.
I don't get it. What do you mean?
Is Wolfpack not? It's funny when I saw that, I'm like, but that's just what a Wolfpack isn't.
Well,
Maybe it's a
legally
military
distinct
term.
A lot
from
of
Wolfpack
games-
rounds.
A lot of games are inspired by Destiny. Like, even Destiny was one of the biggest games to have, like the controller cursor, where you
Oh
can
my
use your
God.
controller and have the cursor. Now it's in like every game.
It's so common now. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
like
the
they were
layout
pretty
of like
monumental with everything.
the Destiny like kind of equip screen layout. Like Assassin's Creed wholesale copied the whole thing. The loot system too. The Destiny loot system got copied in a million games too.
I mean, Destiny they definitely pioneered, I think, the look overall. But Borderlands had been doing, not the layout exactly, but the start of, I think, some of that as well.
For sure. Yeah.
I think the other real like, apart from like this enemy design and the environmental stuff and these other bits and pieces and the secrets and puzzles, I think the other glaring issue everyone had between Marathon and Arc Raiders is proximity chat and solo queue. And it's something that Bungie has already said that they're not going to do, and I really hope they reconsider it, because Arc Raiders just is a literal case study for why you should have it.
It adds so much to one of those games. It adds so much.
I did a very small case study, and I said to chat, I'm going to yell, don't shoot in every solo game that I played.
You have to tell us what you say. What were you always saying? You have to tell us legally.
If you're here, whatever, like if I think someone's in a building, whatever, just like you have to talk
every time.
So in solo games, out of like 12 games, I only had 3 people shoot at me, and out of 12 games, and the rest were friendly. They either left me alone or we had a chat and we teamed up. And out of the 3 that shot me, I'd already made friends with people in those games. So technically, there was only 1 game out of 12. They go for about 30 minutes each that someone actually shot me, and I would say that's probably accurate to my experience. Is like when you have solo queue and you have proximity chat, it is actually easier. The game is easier to grind than being in trios. As soon as I go to trios, it was like a 100% shoot on sight. People are not willing to engage with other teams. It's way too dangerous when you've got 3 people pointing guns and everyone's looking at each other. It's like, who's going to pull the trigger first? But it provides avenue for solo players to go in, get your bounties done, collect loot, and
having those world bosses that encourage cooperation between teams is incredibly smart.
Yeah,
I agree. Well, this is even when
you look at Hunt Showdown, which has world bosses, right? But only one team can take the grand prize. So even if you cooperated to kill the boss, you got to kill each other to take home the prize. right?
Yeah.
Like somebody's got to die.
Well, this
here.
is kind of what I said about Marathon with the prox chat thing is I don't know what they're adding to the game or what's in these later maps or whatever, but as of right now, there is literally zero reason to work with another person in Marathon, right? Like, what are you going to work together on? There's like nothing, there's nothing there that makes you want to go, hey, let's go take this thing on. And that's kind of what I was hoping for with a Bungie made extraction shooter is them putting that, dungeon, maybe not as complicated as dungeon and raids, but putting those kind of things in the game that really does get you wanting to work together. Because in Destiny, you emote at people and you work and it feels really good. They're really good at that. So, yeah, I'm hoping that we do see that, and then proc chat would make sense. As of right now, I'm like, what am I gonna? Hey, do you come grab this poison room with me? There's nothing in there.
It's not good enough to have prox, and this is how all these like elements work together. You can't just have prox chat. You need a solo queue. You need prox chat, but you also need a reason. And Ark gave you that reason by having insurmountable bosses that you could like. My very first game in solo, I just ran around going, guys, we're gonna go kill a spider boss, and just recruited 5 random people who just wanted to experience this to attack a robot that we couldn't do by ourselves.
Yeah. I wanted to say one. I think on the proc chat stuff in Arc Rares, to be fair, but it may be wrong. That stuff can wear off over time. It's exciting because it's an alpha and everybody's friendly, but that can turn toxic and after week 2. But putting that aside, I think you nailed the Marathon side of things. And Watts, you made a good point, and I had brought this up when maybe we were playing. I was like, there's not even like an emote, and they do that so well, right? And you're like, that doesn't even exist. Never mind the prox chat.
We gotta wait for the in-game store to come up to get the emotes,
I guess, but like the fact that it's not even like being shown and explained as part of the system. But then on prox chat, all I would say is with what you were getting at, Mylon, I feel like we want it in there because it makes sense and it's in extraction shooters and stuff like this, but there's nothing to do with it. What are you going to do? Ask somebody if they have some loot for you and then walk around and get that loot? Because if you're not going to fight enemies together, you see what I mean?
Makes
like
sense.
I don't need help pressing the button for the gas room.
It's
like
I
want it.
Like, it's all part of that system. It's like there's no reason to cooperate, so there's no need for prox chat. And you can say that that's in the philosophy design of Marathon is to be more PvP orientated with a dash of PvE rather than the other way around. And I think Arc Raiders has proven people kind of like a complete PvE game with a slither of PvP on top and the option to be in combat rather than the other way around, which is a PvP game with a slither of PvE on top.
Yeah, and that's what they got to figure out. And I was just trying to make the point is I actually disagree that Marathon needs prox chat because of
the
what
way it
we've
runs at
seen
the
and
moment,
what it
there's
is.
no point,
In concept, I agree it should have it and it would be nice. But I feel like if you challenge it, you're like, well, what are you going to do?
Yeah, it's not as simple as just add prox chat. It's like you need to add these what I think is like tiers of bosses. You need to have bosses that you can take on from game 1, and then you need to have enemies that you can't take on until you're level 20 and you have a crafting bench and you have end game gear. And that's what Marathon's got right now. Marathon has bosses, enemies that you can't deal with when you first go in. But as you level up and as you get better and as you get better gear and as you upgrade your workbench, you can craft the wolf pack grenade that starts smoking these fools.
Sorry,
Arc Raiders. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I've been saying Marathon.
No, I was like, what's he talking about?
No, sorry. Right. So like in Arc Raiders, you can do that. You level up workbenches, you level up and you get purple gear that can start dealing with these enemies that have been terrorizing you in your first games. And Marathon doesn't have that.
I think what Marathon is, or at least what it seems like Marathon is doing, is they're having you work through different difficulty of maps. Like you start in the kiddie pool, and then you go to the next map with slightly better gear and harder things. And so I do really want to see what those later maps look like and what, we obviously the game is not out. This wasn't even supposed to be shown to the public. But the problem is that Arc Raiders is also not out. And we don't know if that's in the same stage as Marathon, if they would be like comparable in terms of completion of game. But it is hard when you have 2 games that both are not out, that are both the same genre, and you can like compare them and go, well, this one feels a lot more complete. So I want to see what else Marathon has to offer, because man, that game feels good. but maybe it's going to with a different vibe of extraction shooter than like the more traditional one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, again, it's like
Yep.
the state of what they're showing. We don't know for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm glad to hear you guys say it this week because I know I was playing so much defense. I'm
It-
like, I don't know.
No,
they
it's
might have more to
Doom.
show.
Sony's
and-
going to shut it down a week after it launches.
No, it's not. That's
Briar's
not
been reading
gonna
those
happen.
YouTube comments.
Yeah. Briar's
I
been
think,
on
like,
Twitter. Get off of it, bro. Step away. Put it down.
I think at the end of the day, like I do think it was beneficial to Bungie to have Arc release. Like I think they've got it. It's either A, lit a fire to make changes, or B, just
I mean, how
giving
many
them
changes
more
can they
ideas.
make? The game is out in like a few months.
Well, I think what
They
it
can
comes
make a
down to
lot.
is I
Yeah.
think what it comes down to is how many things were already in the oven and what to prioritize.
That
So
makes
I
sense.
think what you would probably hope for Bungie is that some of these elements were maybe already cooking, and we know that to be the case. Like they've said that the Spit are coming. There's an end game map with the Spit in them, and maybe seeing something like Arc Raiders are going. You know what? These enemies we already have designed that we're going to put in the end game map. Maybe they need to be bumped down to the earlier maps or the second map, or maybe that we need some of these other aspects to make the early stages a little bit more engaging as well. So I think that would probably be the best case scenario. Is they've got some of these things already going. They've got these secrets and puzzles already going, like Arc Raiders has, and they can prioritize that over something else. And I really do hope that they would prioritize. If you can't get proc chat in, just a solo queue. A solo queue is just very different. Like it allows
Yeah.
solo play, and I think you need that. I really do think you need that.
They
You
kinda
need solo queue for sure.
Yeah.
You really do. Because like I do not want to group up with random people and like when I have no one to play with if I want to get anything done. Because we're all going in completely different directions. We all need different things. What is gonna make two random people want to go with me to do my stuff instead of their thing?
But they have like core issues, don't they? In the sense of like the hero abilities. I saw some discussion around this too, right? But I felt the same way. It's like, yeah, why wouldn't I just go in invis all the time when I'm
Yeah.
As a solo
solo?
player, you pretty much need to. Yeah.
You
Yeah, I mean, you could
Yeah.
scan and do the other stuff, but I'm like, I'd rather just be invisible whenever I need to. And so you create this other problem to solve because of the very nature of. We don't know the other two classes, but you know what I mean. I think that's the issue. Is like they need a solo queue, but the same problem is like you need to get all the other stuff around that right too. So it's almost like a different mode for the solo queue, or somehow handles it differently. They got their work cut out. I do agree that Arc Raiders ultimately, I like that you're turning it into a nice positive for them. They got their work cut out. But yeah, competition is good, and like
Mhm.
it's either going to light a fire or maybe they learn some things from that as well, and also all people become more interested in extraction shooters, but also maybe they do decide to delay it. There's a lot of chatter that, I think it's hearsay of like, oh, Sony's making them release it. I'm sure there's corporate pressure, but maybe this also gives another reason of like, you know what? GTA that got delayed. This one looks real hot. Let's see where we're at. Maybe they get more time. And also people seem to like the Destiny announcements, and maybe that relieves some pressure too.
Yeah.
But maybe they have tons
I-
more to show with Marathon. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Let's talk about those Destiny announcements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should.
I was gonna say if it releases half baked and I think you have one shot at releasing an extraction shooter. I think everyone's already proven you get one shot at having a good release of a PvP game, and you don't want to be sunk on release. So, yeah.
So Destiny showed off their next two expansions. Is that what we're calling these? Like I feel
Yeah.
like okay.
It's the Fate Saga. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the Fate
Or the-
Saga. The first one they showed a lot about. The second one they just showed a brief teaser, along with a company logo that was not Bungie, which was pretty interesting.
What a teaser if you haven't heard the news.
Should we talk about the first one? What's the first one called? I already forgot.
Edge
Edge of Fate.
Edge
Fate.
of Fate. Edging of Fate.
Yeah. Edge of Fate. Edge of Fate.
Edge of Feet. Edging of Feet.
Yep. And this one, tell me about it, Briar.
Well, they got a new armor system, right?
Yes. The armor system is very interesting because that is adding set bonuses. You're going to be able to get like 11 energy instead of 10. They're changing the way that stats are. Like there's no like resilience mobility anymore. Like that's all different. So it's a huge shakeup.
Did you say
Yeah,
set
it's a
bonuses?
big change for armor.
Yeah. Yeah, big change.
Does
Yeah,
this
and they had
make
teased
does this
it.
make you want to just like delete all your old armor?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
As soon as I
especially
can
if
get
you're a
started.
returning player, just delete everything except obviously you need something to go into the expansion with. But just keep, like your main armor set for the build you're running.
I'm just gonna wear
And
my
some
season 1
weapons
trials
and
of
just freaking go in.
Trials of the 9 armor.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Honestly, though, that
Probably
is
fine.
it's not only exciting to have the new build potential and, like you said, new 11 energy, set bonuses, etc. Not only that exciting, but yeah, that you can just get rid of a bunch of old stuff. I do think that feeling of holding on to so much old armor over, has it been 8 years or whatever?
Yeah, too long. Do you think this is like
Too
a
long.
soft sunsetting?
Yeah.
I hope so. Honestly, I hope
Yeah.
so.
It's like I would say it's natural, right? Like meaning they have a new system, and therefore, why would you use the old stuff? As
Yeah.
opposed to like we need to do. I mean, they knew they needed to do something, but it just naturally. Why wouldn't you get rid of the old stuff? Which is only
Yeah,
a good
you're
thing.
not gonna have set bonuses and you're gonna be missing like energy on your armor.
I can't
So-
believe they've never had set bonuses before. I can't believe we're like, woohoo, year 13 set bonuses.
Yeah. I mean, have they loose? Did the seasonal perks? Did those ever? I was thinking. I think when we did like summer solstice and other stuff, where you wear a full set and got, but yeah, not really.
They were
We've
doing
never-
it with Gambit Prime. I thought it was good, but
Oh
whatever.
yeah, that's right. The Gambit armor. They started that idea, didn't they?
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Armor 2.0, definitely one of the more exciting things. But I mean, there's a lot more
Yeah.
to this that maybe that's just for starters to make sure everybody's clear. Is like it's 2 expansions in a year, and they made clear what both expansions are. They showed us Edge of Fate with a number of things. They only teased Renegades is the one that comes out in December. But then they talked about how those are different and the systems in them, and or I should say an Edge of Fate, the things that are changing in their focus.
We want to hit weapons next.
Yeah.
Weapons are going on a tiered system. So you're gonna have tiers 1 through 5, which we kind of knew about before, but we got to see kind of what makes a tier 5 weapon special. It's gonna have different effects when you shoot it. So you're gonna be able to tell that it's a tier 5 weapon from someone shooting it, which I thought was pretty cool.
And
Was
that
it
was
just
like
shooting it,
visual
or was
or
it like
sound
on the
effects, or-
enemies?
It sounded like effects, and they said you can turn it off.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
because
missed
I didn't make notes,
Mm.
but when they said it, I thought it meant like when you shot an enemy, you will have a special effect. But maybe
Mhm.
you're right. Like the effect of shooting the gun is going to be, or it could be both. I don't know.
But they have that, and then separate of that was the
Mm.
hollow foil stuff too, right?
Yeah,
Which
so
can
they're
be on
adding
different
more
tiers.
hollow foils. They're adding
Yeah.
because you know what this as just a small side tangent. This was Bungie going, oh, get rid of all the FOMO. Everyone needs to get everything. Everyone should be able to obtain everything no matter what. And then they're like, actually, it's kind of cool to have limited time stuff that you want to be there and get. So now all of the events are going to have new hollow foils for you to get on weapons. And if you're there, you get it. And you play it, you get it. And if you don't get it. Which I think is fantastic. I think Destiny stripping all of its like friction
Yeah.
away was a really bad idea. Personally. And yeah, I'm all for them adding this kind of stuff back. I think it's great.
Yeah, especially it becomes
More
the
hollow
natural sunset as well. Like I'm, if they're not going to sunset old weapons, I'd be happy if all the tiered weapons start to lead me. Like, you know what? I only like using tier 4 and hopefully tier 5, and I'm not using all this old stuff. It'd make it
Yeah.
a lot easier to start getting rid of things, regardless. Whoops.
Yeah, so that's tiered weapons. The story of the Edge of Fate is that we're going into discovering stuff about the 9. We're going to Kepler, which apparently is a different Kepler than what people knew about in the lore.
Yeah, they said
Yeah.
it's on the
Well,
edge of our solar system versus the other one's like a
yeah,
exoplanet
like
in
super far
another
away.
solar system,
Yeah. So
Have to ask
it's
our lore
on.
master, Fran.
I believe. They did
Um,
explain it in the reveal, Claire. It is on,
They
I believe,
did.
the edge of our solar system, and that makes it a little different than the Kepler you may have heard of.
Yeah.
In
And
Kepler
we
15 or something.
during the trailer we got to see the emissary like shedding her emissary skin and was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this through I'm not gonna be your pawn. And apparently like the 9 they're not really a collective and they're more like individual people with their own goals and my will is my own, they want to make their will their own. So
Yeah, this
we
is
saw
this
a
is
bit of
pretty
that.
long-standing lore with the 9. There's like different factions of the 9, and
Mm.
I'm sure chat will correct me because I obviously can't remember nothing anymore. But I'm pretty sure one sect of the 9 assisted in the Red War, but Bungie would have a hard time producing that evidence.
Ouch, too soon.
That was good. That was a good one. I like that one. It was good.
You like that
Um,
one?
But yeah, that
But
was
I was just
the
gonna
right
say
of
they
the
were
nope.
talking about the 9s. They were like, there's ones that have done like war crimes and terrible, awful things, and then there's others that have a show, a game show with a horse. So they're very, very different. Different
Yeah, they're
people.
like these beings that live in another dimension before the beginning of time kind of deal, which I think they mentioned on this on the
They
made
did,
from
yeah.
dark matter, all
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff. They're almost like celestial guardians. I think there's 9 for each celestial body kind of deal.
And they were here before the Traveler, as they also said.
Yeah,
What's
they were here before
interesting
the
about the
Traveler.
9 to me is that this is one of the first kind of concepts that was introduced in Destiny,
Mhm.
like right
Mhm.
away in Destiny 1.
Mhm.
It was like, ooh,
Yeah.
what are the 9? Look, there's this dude who's got tentacles for a face that represents the 9, but he doesn't seem to be completely in control of his own self, like he's being controlled by these people. And there's like symbols around the tower, like, oh, the mysterious, but we really haven't gotten like that much about them. So it'll be interesting to
Mhm.
finally kind of get that.
Yep.
Because it's been such a mystery
Yeah,
for so long.
I am in 2 boats with this, and I'm definitely obviously after leaving Destiny towards the latter, which is like it's kind of cool to finally get a story with the 9, but I have waited like a literal decade, so I don't know how I feel.
Wore you
Yeah.
down.
I understand that.
Yeah, it is interesting that part of their setup seemed to be as well that they wanted to go back to somewhere that, or I should say, Right of the 9 were much longer before the Guardians existed, and so go back to something that was long existing, but also that have different powers seemed to be a bit of a stress here of like how basically how do we
Yeah.
get from being in this same old like world of rules?
Yeah, so they're kind of taking that to do like their Metroidvania storytelling, right? Which you turn into the literal Metroid ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they said
Said you
Metroidvania,
roll
I'm like,
around.
interesting. And then they showed the Metroid
The-
ball. I'm like, not what I thought you were going with there.
You're like,
no.
oh, you mean
Just
Metroid?
You don't mean to add the Vania on the end, just Metroid.
Oh, you meant
Like,
okay, yeah.
I'm thinking,
Metroid.
oh, is the new like place that we explore going to have like multiple branching paths and like kind of
Yeah.
like Metroidvania kind of a style? And then they show the ball. I'm like, okay.
Bit
Yeah.
of column A, bit of column B, because they showed that the ball can be used to like get to certain places. They also showed like a cannon ability that you could basically shoot. You're shooting it, bouncing it, and you're shooting yourself. So that's to like get past
So-
certain puzzles and stuff.
Did they actually say Metroidvania, or is that what we
They did.
added to
No,
it?
They
said
They
it.
did.
Yeah.
Okay.
They did
Okay.
even before that. They were like that was the inspiration for the
Okay.
first Apollo at the
Right,
time,
so-
which is Edge of Fate.
And we're assuming the Metroid, when they say Metroidvania, we're talking about getting an ability like turning into a ball and then having access to a new area of the map, which previously
so,
we couldn't
yeah.
reach. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that is an interesting point, which is the way I had understood it was a little more like a light version of that in the sense that they talked about how there's world tiers. They seem to be hinting that you'll get to a point where you maybe can't get any further yet, and that you have to sort of evolve a bit and
Yes.
get to the. But it's interesting when you ask it that way. I was like, well, wait, if you just have this morph ball and that's the only unique power, normally in Metroid, like that's like one of the many things that you need to get to the next place. So in other words,
It's one of
in
two we
Metroid,
know about.
you see an ice door and it
Yeah,
takes
yeah.
ice missiles, and you need an ice missile, but you can't go and you go back. But anyway, I think it's more just that there's some platforms you can build and progress to make as you unlock puzzles. But
I thought it'd be more
I
like
think
the Dreadnought. Like the first time we landed on the Dreadnought, and it felt like a place filled
Hmm.
with mystery and place to explore. Like that's what I was really thinking.
yeah, more loose in that sense. All I'm saying, like, I feel like Metroidvania
It's interesting
is
because
so
like
much about.
Metroidvania is actually like people misdescribe it quite often and like what aspect. I mean, it's like calling anything a Souls-like now. It's like a lot of
Yeah.
things get called Metroidvania, and it's like, well, what are the actual key features of a
Yeah, like-
Metroidvania that you would consider Metroid and
Well, like a
Castlevania?
maze like layout that you have to like upgrade your abilities
Yes.
to unlock new areas.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like,
that
is it going to be a maze? Probably not. Probably not going to have a maze, but maybe backtracking. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Backtracking with abilities is kind
Getting
of
new
like
abilities. Yeah.
Well, in Destiny,
the
I mean, backtracking is like, I mean,
but you're not going anywhere new. That's all I was gonna say. That seeing that there may be a new area and then eventually unlocking it,
reaching.
and that's
it, yeah.
where to me it would be a Metroid inspired experience if it was that. But I don't know. Like, in other words, do you just get the ball and now you can go everywhere and you've already been there? I don't know.
I hope there's more to it than that. Like, I am going
looks
to
cool, though.
boot up Destiny. There was enough in this trailer to like kind of get me excited about Destiny again, which is kind of rare for me
Oh,
at this
good.
point.
Yeah, that's huge for
But
you. Yeah.
I mean, like if I'm done exploring this in 2 hours, then like that's gonna dampen the fun.
Well, we can touch on that a little bit. Good segue, Briar. They've said that these expansions are going to be slightly bigger than Rise of Iron, is what we're looking at for
Oh, yeah,
size
that's
for
right.
both of them. So we're
Okay.
getting two slightly bigger than Rise of Iron, and we're getting a raid and a dungeon. Like
It's
one's
been
going to have a
too
raid,
long
one's going to
since
have a
Rise of
dungeon.
Iron for that to mean anything to me
Yeah,
anymore.
I was
Yeah,
trying
I was
to. I was like,
That was
Plaguelands.
10 years ago.
I liked it. I know that much.
It was
I can tell you I
Plague-
liked it. It was cool.
Plaguelands, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's funny because I remember sparing around, but I'm like, I don't remember the details either. I remember going
Plaguelands
to
are
the.
coming back. They like vaguely just said
Yeah.
it. They just like Plaguelands.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
And what was the
okay.
the social space for the mountain?
Oh, the
You
mountain.
jump up to the
Yeah.
top.
The
That was fun. Trying to get up to the top
Iron
of the mountain.
Lord's house.
Nailed it.
It was
House of
Warlord's
the Iron
Ruin.
Lords.
Sure.
Mylan knows. What was the name
I
of the
don't.
social space in Rise of Iron?
Remember we had to
Isn't it
jump to
Fell
the
Winter's
top?
Peak?
That's it.
There
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
go. See? You do
100%.
know.
What a
Nice.
god, dude.
He,
Look at
he's
this guy.
he's on a text message with the
Lord
wife right now.
God.
He just got that from
Fell Winter's Peak. Copy that. I mean, how does Bungie know it's the same size of Rise of Iron? They still got that in the files?
Yeah, so they,
Wow.
they must have watched one of your videos.
Strike two. Yeah, maybe worth saying they define these two expansions across the year as new stories, new locations, new missions, new weapons, new gear. Then they say there will be a new raid in the Edge of Fate and a new dungeon in Renegades as the
Yes.
expansion portion. There's
Yes.
more to
I mean,
it,
I
but-
hope this pops off because this is what I've kind of said about Destiny and why I kind of left is I felt like the seasonal quarterly release live service, created a formula and a repetitive behavior and something that they just had to do to get something out the door and didn't give them enough breathing room to make things different enough. And I always thought that they probably need to drop down to only 1 or 2 a year so they can just release quality content that people want to play. And seems like this might be the direction.
I will say I'm looking forward to it. I pause and ask still though that I'm like, oh, this is sort of the structure and the right, it sounds like the right sale for the
Direction.
car I want to drive, so to speak. But at the same time, I'd still look at it and have to be
We've
honest.
been here
that I'm like,
before.
well, yeah, I like the look of the Kepler as well, which actually looks inspired by Metroid again, like a lot of purple and green globs, and like that's cool. I want to explore this, but at the same time,
Yeah.
it's like some Vex and mixed up, factions we've seen. We did see some flying Corsairs, right? That looked pretty dope. Again,
They
that
do.
looked like
They look a little different. Yeah.
we haven't had them before, right?
I don't
Like
think so.
they have
That
like
wouldn't need me.
jetpacks. Those are like
So,
space.
You're talking about the ships, the Corsair ships? Or?
No, they were called. I believe it was the enemy with jetpacks called Corsairs. Like,
Yeah, I think they're like
Which-
fallen with
and-
jetpacks, right?
and those, by the way, that is space pirates from Metroid. So
Yeah.
that stuff excites
Big
me. But at
fan.
the same time,
Hmm.
when I look at it, to bring us down a notch, though, I guess, like, well, it still does, like, it's still going to be Destiny, I think. So I'm excited to check it out in the sense that, like, they're doing the right stuff, but I'm still worried I'm going to be like, well, yeah, I may only, well, let me put it this way. Maybe I'll just be happier if I'm like, oh, I played that for like 15 hours and I kind of got through a lot of stuff. I'm not the type that wants to necessarily grind tier 5 everything, and
No.
maybe it'll suck me into that, but
But
in other words, it still looks like Destiny to me. They haven't shown me anything other than, the Morph Ball and a few platforms, maybe.
But I will say having the new gear, or having the gear be like kind of like a new system that's all kind of soft resets everything, and like I can just kind of clear out my vault and not worry about it too much. Maybe I'll save a few things that really mean something. But it's like this almost feels like a finally a chance to just like clear out the vault without like no guilt, because all this new stuff is
Oh,
going to
yeah.
be so much more valuable. Like
Totally, Brian. Yeah, because I think that's like the hardest thing for a returning player, really, is that
it's really
you
hard.
are then you just want to hop in. You're like, oh, there's a new Destiny thing. I just want to like see the place and like do the thing. But then you're confronted with this huge vault that you don't know what to do with, and you haven't even played for so long that you don't even know what you can't even start to figure out what's
Yeah.
good. So being like, I can just, like you said, keep some stuff, delete a lot of it, start again is really nice.
yeah, maybe I don't know if we stress it, but the power being rebased, to 0
Yeah.
effectively, or wherever they start that, and then getting back up. So that's huge too.
I think one of the other hardest things for returning players is probably the category that I'm in, which is objectively, I agree this stuff all looks good, but I've also kind of done my dash, and I've heard this before, and my logical brain says, yeah, Bungie's really good at marketing. They're really good at hype. I've probably felt positive about everything they've ever announced. And then I play it and I feel some sort of disappointment about it. And the last time we had this kind of talk was kind of about episodes and changing it and switching it up and all this kind of stuff. And it wasn't what was promised. This doesn't look the same, but I'm also still in the category of like, I've been here before. I've been in this loop before.
Yeah.
I've been in the cycle of Bungie not doing well and then releasing absolute banger, and then not doing well and then releasing a banger, and then not doing well and then releasing a banger. It's like, how long do I want to be in that cycle?
Yeah. I mean, you have to remember, we're like sort of seeing, to your point, is like a lot of it looks new in a new location, but like, I don't know if they talked about new strikes. Did they? There's talk of new missions, but
I
I
think
don't-
it was in like
mention
I think it's in the new and reprised activities is maybe a part of that.
maybe. But I guess my point is, I'm sure we're going to be playing a lot of older strikes, and it's just under this new construct. But they're not going to show you going back to play, the Nether or whatever it is that we're going to be doing in addition to, like, meaning I highly doubt you're going to spend all your time on Kepler. Like, let's look at Final Shape with
Right.
what was the main zone in Final Shape? Wow, my brain's just. I've had 7 or 8 days.
Pyramid.
No,
Oh, you mean the Traveler.
Yeah, Inside the
but
Traveler.
The Traveler's Heart.
Pale Heart.
Yeah, thank you.
Pale Heart.
But yeah, like maybe, oh, cool, new area. You weren't like spending all your time there, obviously, is all I was trying to point out.
Yeah.
But, and that's natural. I don't think it's not necessarily a good or bad thing. I'm just reminding you, we're looking at it as like, oh, this new thing. And you're like, there's no way it's that big that you're only going to spend most of your time on new missions, new strikes, new location. We're going to be going back to all the old stuff too, but under this new construct, which I think looks nice.
Yeah, because I kind of feel like, oh, this looks cool. Like I wouldn't mind trying that. And then I like kind of tell myself, how would I feel if I get in and the seasonal vendors like go collect 5 floozy what's it? I'm like, nah.
Hey,
I'm
right back to Alpha Raiders, whatever the heck it was called.
Alpha Raiders.
Alpha Raiders is a great name for both of them.
Yeah.
As one,
Yeah.
maybe.
Can we talk about Renegades? Because, man, when I
yeah.
saw that shit come up on the screen, I let out a groan that was so loud. My wife yelled out from the kitchen, "Are you okay?"
Yeah. So July 15th, Edge of Fate,
Yeah.
if we didn't say it. First
Yep.
of these 2 releases.
And then in December, we're going to be getting Renegades. And Renegades is, to be specific, because we got to make, because people don't know how to listen or read. There's reasons to be upset, but this is not one of them. They've said that this is very much a Destiny expansion. It's going to bring in characters that we're going to be on a multi-year journey with, but they are having the vibe of Star Wars. It's the vibes.
Is it a legally distinct vibe or is it a collaboration?
No, man.
It's a
got
collaboration.
Lucasfilm
It's
in the,
official collaboration.
yeah, it's got their logo on the trailer.
Yeah, and I was speculating. I don't know if they confirm. Like, well, they do use sound effects and stuff in this teaser, but I'm thinking maybe that could be part of it, where they use some of those inspirations and are doing like, they're gonna be some kind of lightsaber, I'm sure, and it's gonna sound
Oh, it's
like
in the
it.
trailer.
Yeah, but that
Yeah,
was a
the
teaser, so I
lightsaber
wonder.
sound is in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
there's a ton
definitely-
of sound
yeah.
in there.
Yeah, but I think that the biggest thing is like you might have like Star Wars weapons and you might have Star Wars like armor, and you're gonna have, it looks like you're gonna be, well, they said that you're gonna have this like Western theme, like the Wild West with the Star
Tatooine.
Wars vibes of that. Yeah. But they're gonna be telling a Destiny story that kind of works with the Edge of Fate and works with the next ones that are coming up as well, which are Shattered Cycle and The Alchemist. So it's introducing characters and places and theories and stuff that's all related to like continuing the story of Destiny. It's not like, we're just for an expansion, we're just gonna like fight Darth
Do a
Vader
Star Wars.
and we're gonna be Star Wars. And then we're gonna go
Do a
back to
Star Wars.
Destiny.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you set that up because they clarified it, as you said. It's like it's in canon for the
Yeah.
Destiny universe, but they're leaning into the aesthetic, tone, and vibe.
I can tell you exactly what they said. So in the 12 today, they said, will Renegades be a Destiny story? And this is from Robbie Stevens, who said, rest assured, Guardians, everything in Renegade is in canon for the Destiny universe, but we're leaning into the aesthetic, tone, and vibe of Star Wars to tell a Destiny story with Destiny characters.
Yeah, and
There
I,
you go.
I think it can be distracting because of the cosmetics. So I think
Yeah.
you should maybe remember that when you're seeing the Darth Vader stuff, you can get it right now in the game. That
can.
doesn't mean that that's what the armor sets are going to be, right?
Right.
Well, I think Destiny has already made like a canon reason to have multiverses. Like they've already confirmed that like the multiverse theory in Destiny. Like they, I can't remember which expansion it was, but they remember they put Marathon's shotgun in, and they put Halo's pistol into Destiny. Like
Yeah.
there's already precedent for this, and they just gave an explanation of this stuff coming through time, basically. So don't know if they're going to go that deep with the Star Wars stuff. It's just going to be like, how we just crafted it. It happens to look like Star Wars, or if they're going to add that element to it as well. But
Mylan, is it possible that the Guardians just got a hold of Star Wars and they were watching it and on this journey
Yeah,
they
they've-
sort of
they've-
just
they've
were
added
inspired to
enough-
make stuff like it because they're big fans?
they've literally added
possible?
enough in that it wouldn't be breaking the law to say
Everybody
that
wants a
Guardians somehow
lightsaber, right?
Isn't
got
that the-
hold of Star Wars VCR tape.
Wouldn't that be the easiest in canon explanation? It's like, dude, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
Like, we
love
know it's
the
based
movies.
around Earth, and like, yeah, I've made my own lightsaber.
We got the tech.
Easy done. I
Kinda.
should be on the
Golden
right.
Age tech. Yeah.
For what it's worth on that front, it is exciting. As much as I'm like, man, I hate to get away from like just a core IP being its own thing, and I absolutely always love that. But Destiny, we already knew was inspired by Star Wars heavily.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great match. The chocolate and peanut butter, as they said.
Man,
So
this
I
is
am
like
excited
chocolate
to
and
see.
peanut butter if it was like 30-year-old chocolate and 10-year-old peanut butter, though. It's like, to me, I was watching this, I'm just like, man, Disney has just beat this dog to death, this Star Wars dog to death. And like, I know people are excited about this, and I don't want to piss on your parade, because if you're excited about it, great. But for me, it's just like, man, they have rotted this franchise. So this is like, to put it in Destiny now, like after they already put those outfits in, right? It's like, was that last year they put the Star Wars outfits in? And those outfits, they were funny because they didn't look Star Wars inspired. They were just like, hey, you're a stormtrooper in Destiny now, right?
Yep.
I don't know, man. It just crass. It just seemed crass to me. Like, it just didn't-
I thought you were excited about this when you said you groaned about it. I
Oh,
didn't
man.
realize you were on the negative
I
side.
thought he meant that too.
I
Thought
was
he
just
meant
like, oh my god. I feel bad for an IP I once loved, and frankly, two IPs I once loved. You know,
Yeah.
like it seems like the corporations are in charge of making deals, and the artists have
Right.
got to make it work now.
But I think what's
I know what
interesting.
you mean. I've heard people say that this feels like the Fortniteification
Fortnite.
of Destiny, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, so we're
Yeah.
just gonna have like every IP in this, and it's not gonna be its own thing. I don't think that's gonna be the case. Um, yeah, I don't. I
Yeah,
think it'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to lead into. Is I'm with you, Briar. Like you've heard me complain. I'm like, stop making like Fox Sports animated robot emotes. So like, please make stuff from the game that's cool in the universe. But no,
Mm.
they're trying to sell stuff on the store. Like by and large, it's hard to find like sitting down in the Cow's throne chair is like one of the cool things, you know, versus all of the emotes that are like, this is a dance that I saw on, you know, in Fortnite now. So putting that aside, I normally don't like that stuff, but I actually am like, I feel like this is a pretty good match. We have to see how they actually handle it. I think the teaser was heavy-handed, but like in other words, are they inspired to do in the same way as Metroid? It's a roguelite, right? Didn't they already say that? I thought they confirmed the next one was roguelite inspired.
They mentioned it a long time
Okay.
ago
Well, maybe
that
let's
they
just
were
say
doing
maybe.
like a roguelike thing.
Okay. But maybe it's
yeah.
that. But the point is like inspired by things that happen in Star Wars or maybe Star Wars Jedi or maybe Battlefront or anyway. So I don't mind the inspiration as long as they don't take it too far. And I think I used last week as well. I think I brought up Dark Tower. Maybe it was on my stream or whatever. But like I love Dark Tower as a franchise. I think it would go well in
Yeah,
this
it's
universe.
amazing.
I would be super excited. It's not nearly as overused as Star Wars, but I think there's a way to do it right. And we have to wait and see. But the last point I wanted to ask Briar about was you're already basically out though. So they're actually trying to speak to you, right? Will this bring Briar back? Wouldn't you
No,
agree?
man.
Because
Like,
you're not going to come back
you know,
for
my
something
favorite
cool in
thing about
Destiny.
Star Wars is like the original movie felt so fresh and like and new and like such cool ideas. Like it was just like an aesthetic you've never seen before. But now it doesn't feel like anything that has the Star Wars name on it, with the exception of probably Andor, is created. It's not created from the mind of an artist. It's created by like a corporation who says, "All right, we need to put out 3 TV shows and 2 movies in the next 5 years because we got to pay all this. We got to legitimize all this money we paid George Lucas for this IP. You know, so what can we make here? Like, let's hire some directors, let's hire some writers, and let's make this happen." That's what Star Wars represents to me, is like the corruption of an amazing idea by money.
So yeah, you're just over that period. Never mind that Bungie may be trying to bring you back with.
Just
yeah, I
seeing
see the problem now. You're
just
not
seeing
excited
that
about the
franchise though,
partnership.
in its current condition, come to Destiny, like somehow corrupts Destiny to me.
Yeah, I mean, what I was wondering is there a franchise like I use Dark Tower? Is there something
Yeah.
like that if they did pair up as just an inspiration, like let's say it was Castlevania instead?
Yeah, Castlevania would
that
be good. Metroid, I think, is a great idea. I think the combination of
If it was
Metroid and
efficient.
Destiny is a fantastic idea. I don't know how they're going to pull it off. It takes more than a morph ball, but
Yeah, I wish they licensed some stuff from Metroid. Like that was my point I'm
That'd be
trying to make.
cool.
That becomes cool. I now
Yeah.
see that you're just like so tired of the Star Wars and Marvels. Oh yeah, I mean,
Andor is fantastic. It's
Andor is
the first
fantastic,
season
yeah.
was fantastic. I haven't watched the second season. I'm waiting for them to complete it so I can binge watch it like a
I think it
psychopath.
really depends on like how the content and gameplay lands, right?
Yeah.
To put it on the cash grab scale, like how well they handle the actual content in it, or is it really just the pull of the skins? Because I think that's when you start getting to really just the corporate end, and it's like, hey, kids like Star Wars, right? And it's like, well, just this is the Fortniteification of it. Is like,
Yep.
hey, what rap music can we license to put in an event? Do you know, like?
Yeah, I definitely don't like that stuff. Oddly, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, you know what? Pretty good match, and I think you could do it right. You just can't get greedy, like you're saying. I
Yeah.
think you could
Yeah.
really leave a
Yeah.
sour taste. That like, oh, this is just getting.
I don't think we have to worry
used.
about that, right? I mean,
Oh, I think in the store it'll be gross.
it'll
I'm
be
just hoping in the
super
game.
gross.
that it could be really cool to see this come to. I mean, to me, I honestly am like it's.
Do you think you'll be able to get
exciting
an X-wing as a ship? Or a
Yeah,
TIE
see,
fighter?
that's the stuff that I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to think about that. Yeah, of
You know
course.
what you
Great.
can't have, Brian? Right now, you can get a Sparrow that you can drive that shoots things.
That is cool. That's a great idea.
Yeah,
Like finally,
like that.
kind of actually.
Yeah, yeah. I was driving around vehicles in the alpha on the PvP maps. And now we kind of get some. Oh, and also I just want to give a shout out to Bungie doing their like mechs versus tanks PvP mode. We need more silly stuff like that, and
Heavy metal.
using all of the cool sandbox stuff that's only in PvE and being able to use it in PvP. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I would say to summarize my thoughts is I'm happy to see Bungie doing different stuff, doing like a little bit of Metroidvania, doing the different rollout of what they're doing with updates. I'm happy that they're doing Armor 3.0. That's a huge switch up, and the tier system. Like all of this is like different stuff. So however it lands, I'm glad that they are trying something that is really quite different all at once. So hopefully it lands well. I would definitely like for the team at Bungie to have a good landing update.
Yeah. What else we got going on?
Well, I have a couple. I'll give you a hot. Well, this might be a little longer, but Death Stranding 2 hands-on details came out today.
Oh boy, this is gonna
They
be a
had
shit show.
people. People are very happy.
Yeah.
They had people go to Japan and play 30 hours of the game over
30
5 days.
hours?
30 hours. Yeah, Skill Up was
Oh
like,
my God.
normally you get a day, maybe you get 2 days. It's like we had 5 days where we had nothing else to do. There was no like, meeting with the devs and Q&As and all. They were like, just
love
play the
that.
game.
What if
for
you play
30
like
hours.
one day and you're like, I don't like it. I want to get out of here.
Well, then you're
It's
in
your
a
job.
bad state. Yeah, you're in a
It's your
bad state.
job.
That's-
You're in Japan.
Um,
Go for a walk. Get some sushi.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Mylan, I don't know if this game would interest you, but they're in Australia.
I did hear that.
Oh yeah, that's the new like. You can do
They're in
what they call it,
Australia.
plate gates or something.
If someone
go to
doesn't
a
say
different-
good day to me, I'm gonna give it a 0 out of
So
10.
apparently, the guy who just happens to be Australian, who is working on all of the localization, he went through, the Japanese script and he wrote it in like a very Australian way. So he's saying like very Australian things. Because obviously
Yes.
Skill Up is Australian. He's like, there's no way that an Australian didn't have something to do with this. And the
Really?
accents are apparently like super legit. So
You
yeah.
just walk around in a budgie
First
smuggler all
embassy.
day.
Yeah, nah. How you going? You're like, huh?
You can
Yeah,
you can
no,
get
yeah.
quokkas and kangaroos and take them to an animal shelter so that they can be looked after.
And
Oh.
quokkas are near me. That's where the quokkas are. They're on Rottnest Island. The little marsupials.
I think you have to play it. I think it's a legal obligation. A certified genuine Australian plays.
I might have
Death
to
Stranding.
play.
So
I never
are we
played
still-
the first one.
Are we still building bridges and like walking
Yes.
unstably across vast expanses?
Yes. So I'll just go through some bullet points because obviously there's like so many people that have played 30 hours. So there's a lot of thoughts out there. But apparently it's tighter. It's got a better pace. It's more dynamic and more gripping than the first game. Like they get you into the action right away instead of having you watch a cutscene for like 2 hours before you can play the game. There's difficulty settings. There's super surreal boss fights. Takes place 11 months after the first game. Yeah, you're connecting the chiral network.
Which was in the
Australia
U.S.
to the chiral network. Yeah,
The first one was the United States.
it was. Yeah, pacing is
Right.
better.
First time it would ever be connected to the world.
You can customize your backpack. Combat is vastly expanded and improved. Feels like Metal Gear Solid 6 is what some people were saying. Lots of weapons. Battles against BTs are more engaging. So you
Like,
are
was-
doing
do
the
I have-
same thing, but it's maybe
Do I
just
have
a
to
little.
play the first?
Was
it
Kojima
recommended to play the
there, like
first?
watching you play for 30 hours? Like, was he like?
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, he's around the studio. There's no way he's walking around the preview room like. But I mean, I'm sure he went in, but I assume he's not standing there forever.
Just like standing there over your shoulder.
Hey, Norway. Yeah.
With playing the first one, they do have a catch-up thing before number 2 starts, so you can like see the story so far. But they have said that it definitely feels like they assume you know these characters. So they're not doing like a big intro of like, here's this character and here's what they do. They're being like, you know who they are. So you will have an idea of the story before the second one, but you just wouldn't know like the intricacies of the characters and all of that.
I would actually say, like, if you have the time to play it, I think it's a fascinating game, and I actually really ended up enjoying it. But it's so wild and Kojima and confusing while you play it anyway. You have to pay a lot of attention, or at least I certainly did. But so you're better served to almost like watch a recap video, and then there may be something in the game. Like, just watch those, and I feel like you'll be fairly caught up and
I think you'll be
understand the
fine,
basic.
Mylan.
Yeah.
I think
If
you
you
would
if
be
you put a
fine.
YouTube video of the story and then take a hike, pretty much get the whole thing.
That's what
You're
I'm
gonna fall
saying.
over
Like,
a couple times.
honestly, I know you're joking, but
I think you would be fine with that. If you're someone who is like, I really want to know the intricacies of the world and I want to know these characters on like a deep level so I can be going into the second with them, then I think in that case you want to play the first. But if you're like, I want to experience a new Death Stranding game and I just want to kind of know what happened, I think that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah,
What's
that's where I'm at.
yeah, I didn't get to read any of this. I've been in jury duty still forever.
Yeah.
Was there any mention of like this chiral network and connecting with other players and stuff? That was one thing I liked the potential of
Yes.
putting down a ladder and getting likes on it, but then it turned out it's like a couple of my friends versus anyway, was there anything in there about that type of thing?
I haven't
building a
found
road or ladder?
anything that's like really talked about them expanding that, but it very much so is in the game. I do know
Okay.
that. The
I
only other
hope-
thing I know, which is kind of cool, is that well, actually, that's not related to you. Say first.
Okay. You know, I was just gonna. I know that it maybe didn't even hit with a lot of people, especially if you didn't play it when it came out. But I thought it was really neat. The
loved it.
idea that I could put down a ladder that may be the first ladder. It wasn't because of all the instancing of the end, but the idea that I built a ladder that Watts then came through
Mhm.
and saw it was like, thank you. Boop. Did a
I was like, "Oh, it's free,
Facebook
it's
thumbs up.
ladder." You're
Yeah.
like,
And
"Wow,
you
it's
start to get
Finland."
likes on like you would help build the world and connect it.
Yeah.
But then it turned into like it just sort of happened, but then it wasn't like an actual online real-time type experience. It was like a few people did it, and then it got confusing that it was even my ladder, that type
Well,
of
let me
thing.
tell you, friend, I had a lot of likes because I spent probably 3 weeks of my in-game time building roads. So
It's cool though, right?
I
That
am the
feeling.
road master.
So I hope they expand on it though, right? Like,
I hope
wasn't
so,
that a
yeah.
cool?
It was cool. I really liked it. Yeah, I like the idea of it makes you feel because you're in this world that's obviously kind of it's not great, and you're trying to connect
Not
the
a great
world
place.
back together, and you're completely alone, and it really kind of made you feel like you were in it together with other people, like working towards a better world, which was a really nice feeling, and I would like to have that feeling right now.
Yep. Yeah.
A
right
lot of
after
people are
this.
excited that we're getting a sequel, but a lot of people are a little disappointed that we're not getting something new for Kojima, like a brand new IP. What do you guys feel about that?
He's working on OD still,
He
right?
is
Isn't
working
that the
on new stuff,
Microsoft
yeah.
thing?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he is working on a new game, so
But this is the main thing. I mean, to me, if you listen closely and look closely, I mean, if you didn't watch the last trailer, like people are like, "Is that Snake?" And now you have people saying, "I played 30 hours," and oh, it's an evolution of MGS5 mechanics. So maybe it's not exactly what you want, but you might want to look at that and be like, "Oh, well, he's kind of making it because he can't make Metal Gear anymore." That's Konami. He's split,
Yeah,
and
yep.
he's kind of doing it through this in a new way. So that might be a better way to look at it. It is.
The long con was just
Yeah.
like Death Stranding 1 to like push people off the trail. Like, it's really Metal Gear.
Death Stranding 1 had, yeah, if you didn't even, it has these moments where you like flash back to these war scenes. It was already like kind of doing some of it. It was interesting.
The one thing that I'm really excited about Death Stranding 2 having is they're having an in-game glossary similar to Final Fantasy 16 that you can open at any time, including mid-cutscene, to recap and explain plot points, characters, places. And in a game like this, it's going to be really nice because I'm like, who are
Oh,
you?
wow.
Why am I here? Why are we there? What is that place? Where did you come from? So I love that in Final Fantasy 16. It just helps you to be so much more engaged and engrossed in the story when you
Yeah.
can like really know what's going on and remind yourself of stuff.
That
I
was
mean,
a
like,
feature in
Conan-
that game that I wish like every game would emulate because it was so seamless to
Yes.
do it too. It's like
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
Conan O'Brien's in the first game as an example, right? Isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think he is. It
Yeah, there's a
has
bunch
these
of
like
people in there. It's kind of crazy.
holographic. It's too hard to explain. Or did he run an outpost? I don't even. You should check it out. It's on that
the
front.
game's
It's pretty
batshit
weird.
crazy.
Like Jeff Keighley's in the first one too. Is like one of the outpost
Yep.
people, I think, and like it's.
Yep.
I forgot if it was their name or is their like. I think maybe just their likeness, but it's.
It's the freaking
Very
hologram. Yeah. So that's that. That's coming out in the summer, right? July something. Is that right?
Yeah, late July. It was
January.
around the 26th of June. I don't know if that's the
June,
date, but around.
June, July, something beginning with a J, and it's not January. So I know that much.
We've been joking around a little bit about a Destiny lawsuit. I think this is hilarious. So I'm just gonna pull this from
is quite funny.
GameSpot, an article from GameSpot that written by Cameron Koch. I just think this is hilarious. So Bungie's being sued in federal court by a guy, Matthew Kelsey Martino, who alleges that. I'm just going to read this. Accuses Bungie of alleging copying various ideas from their work, including Destiny 2's Red Legion faction and other elements like giant celestial objects hovering over Earth. Bungie sought to have the case dismissed, but has run into a strange problem. Many of the ideas Martino cited as being accused of copyright, specifically Destiny 2's original Red War campaign and its Curse of Osiris campaign, haven't been playable for years. They've been removed from Destiny 2 as part of Bungie's vaulting process that sees the developer occasionally remove older content from the game. That led Bungie, including YouTube lore videos, in its motion to dismiss the case, like a 10-hour complete story of Destiny video by YouTuber My Name Is Bife, as well as wiki pages from Destinopedia, in order to show the differences between Destiny 2 and Martino's work. The judge did not take kindly to this. Maybe
No.
the length of Bife's video may have been a factor.
They were just like, well, the lawsuit is about what's in a game, not what's on a website or on a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Is what they were. Yeah.
Yeah, and you could have things wrong. You could make things up. You could tell a different story. It could be fan created. Like Bife also has, like his own fan stuff that he's written stories about. Like how you gonna?
True. Yeah.
And the judge is gonna be like, well, I don't know if this is real or not.
Yep.
Judge and jury stuff. Couldn't let me have one moment. I've been in jury duty for like 8 days.
I think Fran's on a murder case. He can't say anything, guys, but it seems pretty serious. He's deliberating.
Yeah. Let's talk about court stuff. Alleges the judge, the evidence.
You want to weigh in on this, Fran?
Oh my God, dude.
You want to deliberate about this for a couple of days?
No. I do think it's amazing though that there's this, some loose allegation. Maybe there's some credence to it. I don't know, but that I brought up. I was like, how does Bungie just not have the campaign recorded? We were talking about it before the show. Crazy to me. They made how many games? And you don't just have like a basic digital library. It would have first been on VHS, and then it would, and I'm not even joking, right? It would have moved to DV, and then it would DVD, and whatever. Now it'd just be on a server. Like, how is it? Like, do they even have a recording of Marathon and Halo campaigns? Like, it's anyway surprising.
Or like old art files,
or can't you just call someone at Activision that has it?
Yeah,
like it is. Maybe. It is wild. In other words, they're submitting YouTube videos, but maybe they do have it, and I don't know why they would have submitted YouTube videos, but it's really weird.
Here's a weird thing, because they, when I did work with the anthology, they have what they call like the Destiny Bible, which is like essentially every bit of, well, it should be every bit of dialogue in the game, and like kind of like writer notes where it links to other aspects of the game. I'm surprised there's not that. But maybe they need to see it actually in the game. Not,
it's what's in the game.
They need to see it in the game.
Problem is they can't. Maybe that, and that's it. They can't show it's in the game because
it's not in the game.
Deleted that folder.
I just want to see a judge play Red War fucking how many years ago, and just be like, make a deliberation whether it's the same.
I want them to actually fly Bife in to do a guided tour of it.
Lord tour.
Or a walk along.
Okay,
they need him there.
10 hours to get to
So
endgame, and then I can show you the conclusion.
Dude, can you imagine if they
Mm.
were able to like live stream that trial and like we're watching the judge learn how to equip everything right now? Okay, they've got the ghost on. Okay, now I need you to go to the tower. That would probably get like easily 300,000 concurrents, if not 1 million.
Judge
Yeah,
grinding to
that'd be
level
amazing.
100 now
incredible.
level.
Judge live streams grind through Destiny's original campaign.
The Lost Red War. Dude, Bungie, there's your marketing. Turn this into a win and do something like that. It would get so much attention.
I mean, the Bungie would obviously win because the judge would finish playing, but I have no fucking idea what's going on. It's clearly
Yeah.
different from.
Awarded to plaintiff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
This is nonsense. So Watts, you spoke so highly of Expedition 33 last week that I
Yes.
immediately went to Best Buy to pick up a copy, and they were sold out. So I was like, oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
So I went over to
Mhm.
Physical
GameStop.
copies sold out.
Sold out. GameSpot. GameStop.
Stop.
Thank you.
Stop.
Games.
Yeah, it's confusing. Yeah.
Yeah. Target, Walmart, Amazon, all sold out. You can't get a physical copy of this without paying like reseller prices right now, which I gotta say I was kind of impressed by. I don't know. I'm sure maybe they didn't expect the success they were gonna get and didn't print as many copies as they maybe should have. But still, it was kind of a cool thing to see. Oh man, this thing's sold out.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It's
Don't get
sold
that-
out
you
everywhere.
Don't get that very often these days.
No.
Yeah, they said they
No.
didn't expect it, and you know they said they're trying to replenish. So it was interesting. Yeah,
Did you
when
just
it's
want
not
a
like
physical copy?
What's that?
Sorry, Fran. Did you just want a physical copy, Brian? Is that why?
Yeah, I prefer to buy a physical copy if I can over a digital copy.
Because you could always play on Game Pass until
Nope.
you could get a physical copy. No. Yeah. I feel you. I don't want
can
to.
you? I guess
Nope.
you could. Yeah, the same.
Not giving Microsoft a dime. Sorry.
That's true. Yeah. I forgot about that.
But yeah, no, I think it was over 2 million copies sold now. I
Over
think they
2
announced.
million copies. Yep. They
Crazy.
are. It's doing really, really well. I'm still. How many hours am I in now? I'm in 61 hours. I'm not finished. And it's still on track to potentially be my favorite game ever. So
Wow.
Wow.
we will see. But also another couple things that they've been breaking records of is their OST is like #1 on the classical
That's so
album
cool.
charts and classical song charts.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
wild.
right.
That's so cool.
It's taken over all the French charts for music.
They're gonna
Yeah,
have
it's-
to press a vinyl.
They're definitely gonna have to. Yeah,
Is
definitely.
any is it like Monster Hunter Wilds where like they're selling any food types based on the game as well? Like they're
Not
almost
yet.
hitting
They
all of
should.
that.
You know what they
What
had?
baguettes?
They had Fran?
Baguettes.
They
What
had
would it be?
IGN. They had IGN do some
Cool.
merch for Expedition 33, so you could buy
Oh, right.
some merch from IGN.
You
The
buy
IGN merch
33.
store,
I bought the
yes.
tote bag.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The
Tote bag is handy these days. Not that they won't give you bags at grocery stores anymore.
Yeah.
the best thing with Expedition 33 is when I was playing Ark Raiders, I was in like European lobbies and I met so many French people. And to make friends with them, I literally said, "Oh, how good's Expedition 33?" And then like in broken English, like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, thank you. Work together. I actually played it. I played 20 hours of it. It's great. I'm not as thorough as Watts, and Watts tells me off for not side questing and playing the game wrong. But
She's
I had a really good
bullying
time.
you? That sounds
I do
right.
listen because over half the game is not the main story. So if you
I'm-
want like a bunch of weapons to make a bunch of builds with and a
Yeah.
bunch of pictos to make builds with and you want to fight all like the hardest bosses and see the cool like most of the combat for bosses is absolutely not in the main game.
Yeah,
I
and
like
you can
fighting
you can
things.
kind of like mainline it, but the real challenges in the side bosses that really make you look at your build again and respec stuff and like actually start planning out your moves to get a win. They're and even like I think more mechanics too, more kind of like hidden mechanics like that boss I was working on
Yep.
last night, which once I realized I was missing, I mechanic, which everyone had stayed very silent and very good about. I like did it in one shot, so that was kind of nice.
Nice.
But yeah, it's a. I'm not you typically like turn-based games, but it just the simple thing of adding this like parry dodge system and the build crafting in it makes it incredibly good when you combine that with a good story and voice acting and general like just like a shit ton of cutscenes. Like cutscenes every time you set up camp, there's a goddamn cutscene about something. Like it's impressive. And the boss design is like, I don't think I ever would say something can beat like Souls, like from Software, but man, this is pretty close. Like, there's
Yeah.
obviously some inspiration there, but it looked good. Like, it's not bad copy. It's like it's their own thing, but it definitely gives like Souls design kind
It
of
does, yeah.
horror. Yeah.
One of the people who worked on it, I believe, is a Sekiro speedrunner. So,
Mm.
you know.
That's a
That makes a
certain
lot-
kind
that makes a
of
lot of
psychopath
sense.
right
You're
there.
like, nope. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it is an indie game. It's crazy.
It's an indie
30
game.
people.
Dude,
That's-
there's like some crazy stuff about this game. Like the first time this person's ever written a story, didn't even work in game design before this, and they were found on Reddit. The person who made the music was just a music teacher who was uploading like fake game soundtracks to SoundCloud, and they found them there. So the writer and their music, which everyone is like, wow, this is so good, is both from people who have just like not even done anything in the industry before, not even close.
Well,
I think what's constantly confirmed with these games that pop off is like when you have just passionate people working on things they love, and you get rid of some of the the corporate stuff at the top, and you have just people that just love games or love making stuff or love writing. You just get bangers, right? Like that seems what's happened here.
Exactly.
It's just
She was a private equity investor,
oh,
and then she wrote this.
yeah,
Man,
talent
it's crazy.
scouting is super compelling.
that's a big turnaround.
Yeah, it's just people
Dude,
people creating things in their spare time, like music and stories and whatever. And even like how the game became to be a thing at all was it was someone who was kind of bored at work and wanted to make their own thing. These are all things that people are working on in their very limited spare time. So you do get incredibly passionate people when you look towards that kind of stuff. You know, you only have a finite amount of spare time, and they're choosing to write stories or create music or work on a side game.
You're probably hoping they gave you like stocks now than a salary. Hey, but like, hey, we don't got that money, but you want some stocks? You're like, yes, please now. Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's really crazy. I've sat there on some mainline bosses too. Like they don't tend to be the hardest challenge, the mainline ones, but they are so cinematic. It's crazy. The whole time I'm just like, wow. It's and the 8 hours of a soundtrack and all of the areas are so beautiful, and the way they use everything, it's incredible.
Yeah. It is very good. So do we know if we're going to get like DLC or anything like that, or any future things because it's gone so well,
Yeah.
or is it all?
So all they said is that there's no DLC planned yet. And because the team put all of themselves into this game, they're like, we're emptied out. We have nothing
We have a
left.
rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
fair.
they're like, we're just trying to enjoy the moment and kind of take it all in, and probably they'll
even
regroup after a little
that's
bit.
not like
Also,
typical
we now have
because if you
millions
have
of dollars to go spend somewhere. We're gonna take a vacation.
yeah.
That'd be great if they can, yeah. That's much kinder to the team, right? Like you put out this banger, go take like a week or so off and go do something nice, and then we'll come together and see if we want to do something. They are making a live action though. Live action movie is coming. So
Really?
Really?
yeah. Yeah. I know, crazy.
I mean, it's
Should
a
we do
good
some Twitter
story.
questions?
But right before we do, I'm just gonna say the Mafia, the old country, is coming out on August 8th of this year. This was announced today.
Is that a brand new Mafia?
Yep.
Wow.
Really?
And
Was that
uncover the
revealed before
origins
this?
of the organized crime in Mafia, the
That's-
old country, on August 8th.
Those games
We
are
didn't
nice.
talk about GTA.
Oh.
Right, the GTA trailer.
GTA. That trailer looks pretty good, honestly. Like
The trailer
technically.
is just like it looks insane, right? Like the fidelity of that trailer is absolute madness.
Yeah.
Crazy.
From detail to
The
fidelity.
amount of
it's awesome.
views on that trailer is absolutely insane.
It's crazy. Yeah.
People are
What's it at
excited
now?
for GTA.
Yeah, let's
turns
check.
out.
Let's do a live
probably
check.
a-
What-
91
gonna-
million views
it's
in
gonna get
2
70.
days
91
Jesus.
million in 2 days.
with 5.3 million likes.
They from what I understand, they will copyright. No, they will take the revenue off of anybody who like puts that
Re-uploads
trailer
it.
in their own video, right? So like the only
The
place to watch
video
it is
stuff?
on Rockstars.
Well, yeah, or if what you're saying, if you use the footage, you can, but it's just they claim revenue on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is surprising. I get the precedent because that's not completely uncommon, but yeah, it just sounds weird when you're gonna make like $4 billion.
Yeah.
If you're gonna cover this, it does have licensed music in it, which is separate from that, I think. But anyway, yeah, it's the fidelity is amazing. What I thought, because they said, oh, it's captured on PS5. There was a report after from IGN that Rockstar said it was equal parts gameplay and cinematics might have been the word. But all I would say is, like, regardless of that comment, it's not like I see anything in there of actually like commonly controlling a character in a car and like what gameplay probably will look like. But like in the close up, dang, it looks nice regardless, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to take away, like, but you know what I mean? People walk away from that. I feel like they're like, the gameplay looks sick, man. They said it's gameplay. I'm like, did you watch it? Like, it's not, you're not walking around the city anywhere in there. But again, Red Dead showed us as well back in the day of like, holy cow, their attention to detail. And it's just gotten more and more insane, the amount of detail that they're pulling off. Like the muscles under the body, they're doing it in the horse, which they're still doing now in the, you know, Jason's his name. It's crazy.
I know GTA is popular, right? Just like Call of Duty's popular, but I didn't really realize like how popular until I actually like looked at like how many copies of GTA 5 did they sell? I was like, oh, is it that many?
Is it like
I was like
50 million?
Oh, it's ridiculous. I have to look it up. I'm sure Jack can do it, but like it was staggering how many
150
copies.
million, maybe it's even more.
Yeah, I think it might even be more than that.
But when you think about that, that's like the number of total Switches is similar and PlayStation 4. And so they sold, I could be wrong.
But they also
could be way
cheat a
more,
little
but-
bit. I mean, it's still crazy. But that game came out for the PS3, then it got re-released for the PS4.
Yeah.
Then like a year later it came out on the PC. Right? So it's like
Yeah.
people buy multiple copies of that game.
It's gonna happen again because
200
it ain't coming to PC for 7 years, baby.
For sure, yeah.
according to Google, 200 million units
That's insane.
as of November 2024.
200 million is insane. This is the thing. This game is it's not on any other level of other games, not in terms of like how good it is, but how crazy popular it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
everyone
it's 12
plays
years old.
GTA.
Yeah.
Your casual grandma plays GTA. You
Your
can go talk
grandma's in
to
a gang in GTA.
She is. Yeah. Yep.
Well, there you go. So what next year, right? Oh, we actually have a date too. I
May.
think
May
they're-
26th.
May. Yeah.
May
Like
26th.
a year from
next
now.
year. I was like, phew, thank God. So they can't overshadow the true game of the year that should be game of the year anyway.
Everyone's
Metroid
breathing easy
4?
now, aren't they? Everyone's like, quick, release
Well,
the
that's why
games
I
in
thought it was
2025.
funny. That's why I thought it was funny to see the Mafia announcement. It's like August 8th. We're here. Yeah.
Before we do Twitter questions, I wanted to just say I had a very friendly Twitch channel, Ninjarific, that gave me a code for the Dune like MMO open beta this weekend.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Which I've been trying to get in and have a look because been very mixed opinions on it. Like people kind of think it looks a little bit underbaked and the combat doesn't look very good, but a lot of people who got hands on with it actually really liked it. So hoping to have some thoughts for you next week about
Nice.
playing Dune, and I'll do my best to stream during family time over the weekend.
I'll look forward to it.
All right, let's do some social media questions. Endgame Express says, if we're doing sci-fi crossovers with future expansions. I'd be down for a Total Recall themed expansion. We already have Mars. Are there any other sci-fi franchises that could be good for inspiration? Sci-fi
Alien.
franchise. Alien, that could be good. A new
I want
race,
them to go
Alien.
creepy.
That'd be
Yeah.
Deep Space War.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I already said Dark Tower. I'm gonna stick with that.
Dark Tower's not bad.
Stephen King's Dark Tower.
I'm trying
What
to
else?
think. Now you putting us on the spot, right? You got to think of like some sci-fi franchises and think if they're any good. The Big Trouble in Little China.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know why not. Somebody shooting green lasers out of their eyes, trying to gain the blood of a green-eyed girl. Blood of a green-eyed gal. Such a good movie.
What else? Mad Max.
Oh, maybe.
Mad Max would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to think about because like it was so clearly like kind of Star Wars and Halo and
Yeah.
maybe a little Lord of the Rings. I don't know. So after that, you're like, oh, that's probably the most of it.
Blandy McBlanderson says, "What is your favorite shouted movie line?" I'm thinking of things like "You can't handle the truth" or "You only move the headstones." I don't understand. What's the "You only move the
What are your
headstones"?
favorite movie lines? Like Game Over, man? Like that?
That people
That's Aliens
yelled.
2.
Yelling.
Yeah.
People
Game
yell, I
over,
think.
man.
Yelling?
Game over.
the-
That's Aliens 2.
The one that
That
I
is a good
use
one.
the
Aliens.
most.
That's so useful
is-
too. Game over, man. It's game over.
I always say this place is a prison from Step Brothers. When they're like, when they're not given enough pizza money, it's like this place is a prison. So whenever there's like some minor inconvenience at home, like I've run out of ramen noodles, I'm like, God damn it, this place is a prison. It's like,
That movie was so
Nice.
funny. I haven't watched it since it was brand
I
new.
love Step Brothers.
And I think I started to give it a bad rap because of there's so much room for activities is so overquoted. Like
Yeah.
I got
Yeah,
sick
yeah.
of hearing that like all the time. But that movie is actually legitimately hilarious.
Yeah.
I have to give that a rewatch.
I do that a lot. I throw out a lot of my favorite one-liners from different movies.
Is You Only Move the Headstones from Poltergeist?
That sounds like Indiana Jones almost, but what is that from?
Help us out, chat.
Tell
Is
us.
that
This is not a movie, by the way.
the
but
whole
for those who
Another
know it-
Man's Fries speech from Keith David at Men and Work? That is a great suggestion from the crowd.
Oh, dude, the speech from his Independence Day speech.
That'd be a
You-
good
do
one
you know
too.
that one? I had a buddy that his brother gave that speech at his wedding as the best man. And it makes no sense in the
Amazing.
context, but
No,
he
that doesn't
gave
make
that
any
speech
sense.
with fervor. Funniest thing I've seen at a wedding.
The Mel Gibson speech from Braveheart.
Oh yeah, sure. Any of that.
You know, it's sad
this
that
is not
Mel
from-
Gibson turned out to be such an idiot.
Yeah, I was thinking.
So many
Yeah,
good
the quote is
movies
still
he was in.
memorable. You know. And this is not from a movie, but you can always say we're just normal men. You guys know that meme from
No, what's that one?
weird Brit? Have you not seen this? It's a whole like feed of. You can usually find like a Twitter, Blue Sky, or whatever that always posts it like all the time. We're just normal men. You can just look it up.
Okay.
It's from like a British TV show, I think. It's hilarious. It's like it happened in real time, and so one's like I think a puppet, right? And then the woman who's co-hosting, like it just kind of comes out of nowhere. And I guess it was supposedly referencing something that happened in real life between them, like out of work, as like they were all out, and somebody said we're just normal men. And anyway, she starts like snickering, and she like snorts at this. She's like one of those like hearty snort laughs. You have to watch it. It is iconic, and it's good. It's people are saying it's a kids show, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I guess, but it's referencing something they were doing outside of work. It's so good. We're just normal men. We're just normal men.
I when I used to play Hell Let Loose, it was like a war game that you have to like comm with your teams and stuff. If I was ever like the team lead and we were like pushing across the field, I would give them the gladiator the gladiator's speech and be like, if you find yourself alone in a field, do not fear, you are already dead, or something like that. Charge.
My
Also
wife wears AirPods like a lot, and they have like noise canceling, so it's really easy to sneak up on her sometimes. And for a
That's
while,
really worse.
if I noticed that she didn't know I was in the room, like if she was like turned around at a countertop or something, I would just get like right in her ear and say, "I'm old Greg. Do you love me?" That was a good one. She really hated that. Because have you guys seen the old Greg?
Mm-mm.
Well, that's worth looking
Didn't
up.
get it.
That's worth looking
Okay.
up.
Okay.
The old Greg.
Old Greg. Yeah, it's like a skit. I think from the '90s, some British TV show,
Oh,
and it's real weird, but it's really funny.
the Mighty Boosh.
Yeah.
Mm. I'll look it up. Anyway,
ranting raving YouTube says snarkily, really hope this kinda ends the never-ending dead game. They are quitting us herder dialogue from some fairly big members of the community. It's always been dumb. They are printing money. Personally, super hyped for both expansions. They look fun and new, and fun and new is A+.
I hope that I hope it gives everyone what they want. I hope it can bring some new people, and I hope it can bring back old people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I always hope that Destiny comes out with bangers. Like I'm always rooting for like
I'm rooting for
awesome
them,
shit
yeah.
from Destiny. Like I don't have any hate for Bungie or the developers of Destiny. Maybe the executives I'm not a huge fan of, but whatever.
Yep.
But
you
like
hate
yeah,
Star
I mean,
Wars. You hate Destiny. What else, bro? I mean, just
He hates fries.
you hate fun.
I don't hate fries. I just would prefer not to have them in my
What?
meal. Like if there's a
Don't like
coleslaw option
fries?
or a salad option, I'm taking it. French fries,
Wait.
it's just too
Mhm.
I
common.
feel like I missed this episode or what? You don't like fries?
He
No.
calls them
It's weird.
tomato ketchup distribution centers.
Carriers.
Yeah, it's a ketchup
He's
delivery
trolling you.
device.
No way.
Ketchup delivery device. Yeah,
I
he
do
doesn't
like
like fries.
ketchup.
No. He likes ketchup, no fries.
Eating it out of a bowl?
No, silly. That'd be
What do you use
ridiculous.
it?
I use a
Just-
spoon.
Don't be stupid.
Yes.
Don't be stupid. It's ridiculous.
Soul Invictus 1997 says, "How does all the DCP crew feel about Destiny? Do you love it, hate it, or do you feel nothing? Like miserable couple 7 years into their marriage? P.S. Even though none of you cover Destiny anymore, we just talked about Destiny for an hour. I
Hey
still
now.
love
Yeah,
you guys
wait.
and wish you the best."
Most
No,
definitely.
yeah.
dude.
Why don't you
Fran
cover
is like-
Destiny anymore, Fran?
I don't like the
Yeah.
attitude. Don't like the implication. Not responding to it.
I don't feel
I feel
ill
bad
will
for him.
toward Destiny. I just kind of got bored with it over time because it kind of just got real repetitive. And what I saw in today or this week's trailers was some fresh ideas, and that's good. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I can
Yeah.
totally come back to it if it cooked me, but
Yeah, I do not have any negative feelings towards Destiny the video game at all. Like I want it to do well. I think that it's been super innovative in a lot of really good ways. Personally for me, the reason why I'm not like, "Ooh, yay," is because I started playing Destiny as a PvP player and I enjoyed the omnivore type of play of what Destiny was, right? Like I really enjoyed the PvP and I really wanted to do the dungeon and grind the nightfall and grind this and that so that I could get stuff to take into PvP. And they fed into each other really, really nicely. And I was happy doing both things because they fed into each other. But when Bungie decided that we're not going to be doing any new maps, we're not doing really many updates, we're going to bring out Guardian ranks, and we're not even going to mention that PvP exists in our game, and they stopped making people... They basically said, PvE players, we are so sorry that we ever said you have to go to PvP. We will never do it again. And I think that that was a downfall because they slowly started killing the omnivore nature of Destiny, and it was instead made to be a game of like, if you want everything, you can take everything. Take it. We're so sorry that you have to grind for anything or do anything that you don't want to do if you want to have everything. So for me, they killed the loop. And because I'm not looking for a live service first person looter that's a PvE game. That's like not what I'm interested in at all. And it's not just Destiny. That I just don't think there's anything there for me because I can't see myself playing Destiny PvP in 2025. I just don't see it happening. So I can look objectively. I think kind of what you said, mine as well. I can look objectively and be like, I like what they're doing. They're doing a lot of new stuff. It looks good. Like I like all of these things that I'm seeing, but there's just nothing really for me as a game playing person that gets me like, yeah, I want to jump into Destiny.
Yeah, yeah. For me, oh, sorry.
Go. No, you go, Fran.
Yeah, no, I think I kind of touched on it before. It's funny because I was trying to just end on the positive note, be like, yeah, people are excited, awesome. But then you asked us. So anyway, I think it's going to be more Destiny, but again, I like their decisions and even the Star Wars direction. So I'm down with all that stuff, but I'm not the type of person that's like just dying to jump back in. And maybe just to illustrate it, like if I was playing Borderlands 3 DLC every 3 to 6 months for the last 6 years, like I like Borderlands and Borderlands 3 in general, but I would not be excited about Borderlands 4 because of that, like just constantly playing it is a big part of it. And then Destiny
Definitely,
with it.
yeah.
There's a lot of upkeep is the word I've been using lately. And the vault, all of the studying, etc. And so with that, I just feel like I'm going to hop in and be like, okay, cool. And then that other stuff could take away, but we'll see how they handle it. Again, I'll be happy if I can even just hop in, play for like 12 hours, maybe dip in and out, but I'm not the type of player looking to play like 60 hours in a month, but we'll see.
I'm very similar to Watts in that, despite all my criticisms and all that kind of stuff, like I don't want Destiny to fail. I don't want Bungie to fail. There's lots of people at Bungie that I do like, and there's some people at Bungie I don't like. It's just like any other company. But I am in the mind space that it doesn't give me joy or happiness, and in fact, it probably brings up negative emotions to play Destiny. And I think that's probably my takeaway from seeing this announcement and objectively saying this looks good, but I don't want to play it, and just realizing that I'm just not there anymore. And if I did play it, I would bring the mood down for anyone who was having a good time. And if I did stream it, I'd be absolutely a buzzkill. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't want to be part of that because that's also the thing that ironically put me off the game in the first place. So I've joined the dark side in that case. So I want to play things that do give me joy and do give me happiness, and I want to make content about. And unfortunately, Destiny is no longer there, and I don't think it's going to matter how good the game is.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I hope it's good, and I hope it's good for you if you want to play it.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is I realized a while ago, it doesn't matter if Destiny has a good expansion or whatever. Like I enjoyed the final shape, going through that was great. And it was, I had a good time with the story content that was there, but they have a really good season. And I'm like, I know it's good, but I don't want to play it. What am I getting guns for? I'm never going to play PvP. So what do I care about getting stuff to make a build? I'm not going to use it anywhere. So yeah. But no bad feelings at all. I'm just playing other stuff.
Yeah. Again, I am looking forward to playing the campaign portion and all that. I don't want that to be misunderstood. It's more if I gotta upkeep and go back to grinding, it's not for me probably still.
Yeah.
Zane, I want to see you just delete your vault.
I mean, it could happen.
It would honestly be the best thing for you to do, Fran. It's just to keep like.
It might be therapeutic.
Yeah.
It probably would be.
Somebody brought up a really good point. They were like, I'm going to start a new character with this expansion. And that actually
that's not a bad idea.
Yeah,
that would be
fun.
interesting.
You would enjoy that.
Now, but then I was like, oh, wait, but I would have to start a new account because if it's tied to my vault, it's still the same problems. So I would have to like register a new account and start over. But that actually for some could be interesting.
But it would be an interesting experiment from a new player's perspective. It's like, how do you unlock Strand? How do you do all these other like systems?
Oh yeah, never mind.
Do you have to go back and replay other aspects of the game to get Strand and to get Prismatic, to unlock your fragments and your aspects?
Maybe just delete the vault, huh? Maybe just delete. Keep a piece of armor, keep some guns,
Yeah, I mean, that's my hope is when I log in, it will be kind of easy to clear some space. I feel like, unfortunately, and we should note it, But going into this, there's no vault changes or quality of life around that. They did say Renegades in that time period would have some of that additional vault space and quality of life around it. So in other words, I do feel like we're going to walk into Edge of Fate again. You're going to have to get ready and clear stuff. But I hope that by December that they're taking it super seriously. And I've said for a long time stuff like maybe this part's gone, but like getting rid of infusion, like saving, all of that stuff.
Fran, how much you reckon? What's the value of your vault money wise for you to delete it?
Like, have you paid me to do it?
Yeah.
It's such a weird. People
Not
have
me
asked this.
personally, but like
No,
Twitch chat.
yeah. But like, if there's somebody who's like, "Look, dude, just do it," and I'm rich, and we want the entertainment. It's like you've played thousands of hours, but
Well, you got
yeah,
Armor
I think I would
3.0,
do
you
it
got
for $5,000,
That's
$5,000.
guaranteed flat. Yeah,
That's what I did.
Okay.
That's how I got a new PC. We did a subathon.
you did.
And I
You
was,
did do that?
and I was, yeah, well, like I was like, I need a new PC, so I need to stream, like to stream, and did a subathon. We played Destiny. I was like, we reached this, I'm just gonna nuke my vault.
Yeah, but then you
That's
still
what
have to
you
do
should do,
both though.
friend.
I'm saying no. I'm not doing a streamathon and all
No,
that
you
for
should.
24 hours.
You should do
But
a
if,
No,
if
you
you're
do.
like, no, just make the video of you deleting your whole vault and prove it, and like we could do that part live for 5K. But if I gotta like dance around for 24 hours and
Yeah,
everything,
you do.
that's different
part of the
because.
experience.
You got that's,
Well, but
that's part
mine-
of streaming, Fran. Get your streamer on.
But here's how I think, which you can
Dance,
appreciate.
monkey dance.
What else could you have done that you also could have gotten that goal done for, and maybe didn't delete your vault? See what I'm saying?
That's bullshit. Just
Now you could have. I could come up with it. You could totally have done. I mean, I don't know what it is, but you could have.
I don't know
done
about you,
something to
but
do.
pressing square on fucking a vault a lot easier than doing anything else for 5K.
I mean, fair point.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
I'm gonna make a note of this.
Zabe says, will there be a DCP Mario Kart World stream with chat members?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Look, I don't know about that, but we do
got
have,
anyway.
we're probably going to have like our charity stream coming up pretty soon. And I don't know about you guys, but when we start talking about this behind the scenes, I'm going to be hard lobbying for other games besides Destiny. And Mario Kart World would be pretty fun. We did
Dude,
Mario
any of
Kart.
that would be
We did Mario
great.
Party one time, and that was a ball. I don't know
That
if you
would be
guys
great
remember
too.
that.
Oh,
That'd be
dude, we
a
could
lot of
also
fun.
do, what is it, Super Mario Jamboree? What's it called? Where because now it's gonna feature the camera avatar floating over the
Oh,
the icons.
that would be funny.
Oh, it'd be so good.
But yeah, I don't know that everybody. I haven't gotten a pre-order for a Switch 2. I don't think Watts has tried to get one. Right? You're not really.
Tomo
interested?
has one. I don't know if he got more than one, but there will
I
be
got
one
one.
somewhere.
I do.
They just started sending out, I believe, the Nintendo Direct Store stuff. If you
Yeah,
were signed up for
today,
that,
I
so
believe,
keep an
right?
eye on it. Yeah,
Yeah,
to check
I
for that
I, wa-
stuff.
I looked at that. You don't even have to look at your email. If you just go to their website, it'll show if it's available.
Oh,
for
really?
you. Yeah.
Maybe
That's the
maybe we
rumor
just
anyway.
stream Fran's Vault and like every time there's a donation, you just
Yeah.
delete the next thing in
Yeah.
line.
I
Why
like
you-
that.
Why do you have to be this way?
I like that.
See, Fran, I think you should
see me
honestly
squirm.
you need to if you want the money, you're gonna have to delete your vault before we get to a charity stream because it's gonna be on the line.
No, it's definitely not.
You hate kids? Why you hate kids and cancer?
No, not
Fran?
that.
Why?
Making me squirm over my vault.
Gare Bear says, what old, possibly forgotten franchise would you bring into modern gaming? MTX shenanigans aside. Personally, I'd bring back the Army Man franchise. Sergeant Heroes and Air Assault
That's coming
were
back.
some of my favorite games on PlayStation 1. It's good. That's a good.
There's
um,
recently
fair enough.
been like Toy Soldier game announcement. I can't remember. Like, I mean, everyone's like Sergeant
right.
Heroes or whatever.
Yeah,
It is.
there has been.
Green,
Mhm.
green.
There you go.
PvP. Yeah.
Tenshu for me.
That's a good pick.
like that.
It's
Yep,
been a while
I
since
like
we got a Tenshu, hasn't it?
It's been a long time. I don't know when the last one was.
An old franchise.
I mean, I think like Perfect Dark's already
Yeah.
coming back. I mean, that was my
Yeah,
I think
childhood
so, yeah.
game.
They're making that.
007 Perfect Dark. I don't know how well it would go, but I mean, I spent a lot of time doing that.
Did you guys
Gotten
play
so many.
the GoldenEye like re-release they did a couple years ago? They re-released
I actually
the old one.
didn't, but I appreciated it.
I didn't.
You
either.
mean
I
they
saw
how they
that.
released what was it, the multiplayer and the remaster of actually GoldenEye, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
So actually, for retro slot last week, we played dodgeball for the NES. And that game is actually a lot of fun, and I wouldn't mind like if some indie dev did a new dodgeball game based on those mechanics. Maybe like obviously better graphics, obviously like some more buttons instead of just the 2 buttons, like jump, throw, and pass. Like it's like they could add some new features, but it's just an incredibly fun thing to do. It's just like whip a ball at people's heads playing dodgeball. It's a simple game, but it's very fun.
Actually, I thought of 2 while you were saying that. One is probably, I probably feel this way. Eternal Darkness, if you remember on GameCube.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that developer is no longer, Silicon Knights are no longer around and stuff. But they did some really cool stuff. But
Yeah.
I also got to thinking, and F-Zero, man, I probably would pick that because F-Zero 99 does not count. Just like a super modern, new, blazing 120 FPS. I hope it's out there somewhere. I'd be super excited. Especially if it had online play on top of that, like pretty sick.
The racing game genre has really kind of like
Yeah. If
Like,
we can get
pulled
like
back.
a Burnout series again.
Burnout would
yeah.
be fun. Yeah. With the old
Those-
Burnout with the crash mode.
Yeah.
want
The
crash
crashes
mode.
and stuff.
Some of those guys went on to make like a destructive golf game. Did you ever play it? It was
I heard about it. I didn't play it.
Mm.
yeah, I mean it was a much smaller portion of the team. It was
Yeah.
funny to see like the golf ball replays like hitting like I think it was a gas station in it and it was exploding. Amazing. It's probably just called Destructive Golf or something.
Yeah, it's probably called. Yeah.
Destructive Golf.
I'm trying to think of like a really good game. that I'd love to
Ridge
see come back.
Racer. Somebody's
I mean,
bringing that up in the
Castlevania.
chat.
I'd love to see Castlevania come back. I'd love to see
Yeah, that's tried.
FromSoft make a Castlevania.
Yeah, that
That would be great.
game. Yeah,
Yeah.
1000%.
Yeah.
like Konami and
They don't
FromSoft
even
getting
need-
together to make that game would be awesome.
Yeah. A lot of good options actually.
Yeah, there's so many franchises that are like kind of like abandoned. I mean, Konami's vault, like what they've been doing for the last 6 years is just kind of like releasing these collections of like games like Contra and Castlevania and like what else have they been doing? Like some of their shooters like Gradius and stuff like that. But man, they have so many. Konami has so many like kind of dead franchises that it'd be so fun to like go into their vault.
Yeah, that got me thinking of like I was thinking about Treasure and Ikariga and like they did oh man. Treasure's still doing stuff, right?
Is Treasure
Oh
still
yeah,
around?
Radiant Silver Gun. That's
Oh,
what I was
yeah.
trying to remember. Radiant. Oh yeah, they did Sin and Punishment, Ikariga, Radiant Silver Gun. Oh man,
Gunstar
stuff like
Heroes.
that would- yeah, that would be fun. Anyway,
Anyway.
could go on.
Games
We should be
are
happy
fun.
that we did get a lot. I mean, to be fair, we have no time to play any of this stuff that we're asking for. That's what I always honestly go back to when I get those questions.
Fran,
Don't,
you don't
she's
have
gonna
the
bully
time.
me, chat. Here she comes.
You know what, Fran? Fran, I'm on your
Don't
side
kid
because you
English.
can't win. Because you can't win with Watts. Because at least I played a game and then I mainline it and then what says you're playing it wrong? You got to
You are
spend 80 hours
playing
in
it
side
wrong.
quest. You
Yeah.
got to spend 80
She
hours
loves
in
it
side quest.
so much.
Hey, at least I'm playing it. At
I'm
least
glad you
doing
played it. I'm glad you got out of your comfort zone to play something that you don't normally play. I think that's good.
And I think
Yeah.
it's a great game. But yeah. But-
Expedition 33? What? Oh, he's
Expedition
trolling.
33. Yeah.
That being said, I know we're having a bit of a bonding moment here, Mountain, but I know I would agree with Watts
I'm not gonna change sides
However,
again.
how dare you?
because, like, I mean, you see how long I end up playing like one game. You got to play the depth. So there's
I
something to
don't
be
know
said
if you
about.
do.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you
I don't.
do.
Well,
You do. You do.
It's
It
like
depends.
getting a
It
hamburger and
depends.
not eating the fries. Who would do that?
I'd just rather just have the coleslaw.
Whole meal. The shake, the fries, the hamburger. You can't just have the hamburger. It's good. See what I'm saying?
But it could be great.
You didn't try the shake. Didn't try the fries. You didn't try the special
And
ketchup.
you left the
infused with
delicious
hot sauce.
milkshake sitting there on the table. And you were like, nah, I don't want
Yeah,
those.
they're homemade hot sauce. You didn't even try it. Shame on you.
Friend,
How could
this
you-
is what. Did you
I'm getting
have
hungry
friends
now.
as a child?
Thanks a lot.
Did you have friends as a Did you have friends as a kid, Fran? Because
think you can all
I
answer
fucking
that question.
threw you a line, I threw you a bone, and you spat in my face.
Not
I'm gonna go back to bullying you
real.
now. How about
is
that?
real.
It was a good 10
Not
minutes.
wrong.
Not even a minute. It was a good minute of not bullying.
All right, you
Yeah,
owe
it's
me
good.
one for that, Watts. Okay. I took a beating on that one.
I will bring up Elden. I will wait 1 month to
You
bring up
what?
Elden Ring. 1 month.
Don't say it. She pretty much said it.
All right, I think that's gonna do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week. Have a wonderful and safe weekend.
Yes.
Bye.
Enjoy
Look
the
after
movie.
yourself. Goodbye.
See ya.